Take me back, leave me buried beneath wondrous stars. Reunite in disguise, having traveled 1,000 lives just to satisfy. We'll never know what we're supposed to do. It ain't true that your heart brings you all the clues. Given the chance, would you be someone new? 'Cause that's a fact, what it's asking of you. So let me fly, take a chance, give it a try. So let me fly, chase it like it's do or die. You
Hello and welcome everybody. This is the OG team stream for the Shift Summer League, the $20,000 thing put on by Oxygen in their parent country. So shout out to them. We got NA, we got EU action, but frankly, who really cares about EU? We got Bass in the desk. This is NA, and obviously this is double round robin league play, so you get to see plenty of the best of NA across the next several weeks.
Including today. Honestly, I'm very excited for this one because I do think this is kind of going to be a, let's call it a litmus test, if you will, for our first team we're facing against here in Incorrect. I think people understand how good OG is. They've made it to every major. They're going to the World Championship. They are clearly one of the top 4 teams in North America. Incorrect, though, I think kind of snuck in here, if you will. They were not a team that was predicted to make it in. They've made it in now, so sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, and Incorrect is also in a new roster, so people think of it as Flitz Toasty and Expert. It is now Flitz Toasty and Wunda Mike, a name that we have not really seen a lot of within the past couple days of like RLCS level action. So cool to see him run it back, but also cool to see Incorrect Esports actually make it a stand here, be able to pop in, have a good run, because that's huge for a smaller org. But they're going against the big boys here in OG, one of the top 4 in NA. It looks like the test lobby more or less done here, Bass. We're not going to have to really wait that long.
Well, look, I'm cool with this. I've been running around all day. I literally just got back from a convention here in Las Vegas with a UNLV team. So, you know, the quicker we go, the longer I can keep my energy at this high. I take a second to, like, dip down and probably going to need some caffeine. Shout out to Red Bull for that. But we don't have to quite yet because we're ready to get into this thing. I think it's game 1 here in our best of 5. It's best of 5s, right, for everything?
All best of 5s, yes.
Okay, all right. Making sure on that. I don't want to misspeak and say best of 7 because I will say best of 7 would be cool, but it's double round robin, right? So you guys are going to play Incorrect again in the future.
Yes. So, by the way, every single game, just in case you guys are not sure about the formatting, a double round robin, frankly, just means that. Oh my goodness. Double round robin, frankly, means that you will be spectating 2 matches every single time within this match. So we will say play Incorrect, we'll play him again. We'll play G2 later on today, we'll play him again. And if you're OG, I think you might not want to play this kickoff again. That was flawless start.
Yeah, that was about as good as it can get here for OG. Not great for Incorrect. Maybe they can try and get a little bit of a clap back here. We're not going to have 2 kickoff goals, are we? Nope, not if Wunda Mike puts it off target. Second tap, probably a little bit unnecessary there. And unfortunately for our orange side, they will not get an early goal. I'm hanging on every word right now because, my goodness, as soon as I think we're going to escape, Incorrect immediately challenge again. Yeah,
in my mind, I'm just like, it's all fine. So now we get to settle into the mid-game. Nope, that's a shot. And then just immediately going back to, like, back and forth action. But I've been waiting for this. I mean, it's nice to be able to have a little bit of break. I do think it's healthy for the players to not constantly be in the middle of league play, but I do like Shift being able to offer this up, not only as more work before the World Championship, which, of course, JNAPS, the company, will be at, but they're still in mid-season form, as JNAPS perfectly reads that one.
I got to give a lot of credit to Calm on this one, though. Not only is he able to muscle past 2 players, but the lock into the reset baits pretty much everybody out of net on that one, and immediately the follow-up from JNAPS, well, he's hitting that every day of the week. They've done it already 2 times in the first about 45 seconds, so if we're talking about this as a litmus test, currently Incorrect are failing it.
And it's not necessarily something that we're going to be saying, like, they're not up to snuff. But ultimately, you're playing against one of the top 4 teams in NA, a team that has made every single LAN throughout RLCS. So there's always going to be a struggle, even though this is very much so like a day 3 RLCS qual situation that you'd probably run into. Just kind of the next level of, like, a player that you all know, or players you know are capable of playing at the pro level, but that organization, that preparation, just sometimes a little bit different, is Noli going to get another one on target. Flawless contact.
This is kind of the issue when you are playing a team like this, though. The speed at which professional RLCS teams at this level play is just a bit unusual. You're not expecting that shot to immediately rip in. It's why Flitz is a bit further out of net, trying to collect boost pads, just trying to kind of level back up. You can't do that, though. If you leave an opening for even a second, a team like OG are going to pounce on it before you can recognize the scenario has even arrived. This is a scenario for Incorrect. Can they finally get on the board with some offense? I don't think so. The immediate lack of challenge off of Calm makes me think they're pretty prepared for some defense.
Well, if we are kind of looking forward into these next couple games and next kind of bowl, I would say like the ultimate test of the league play. I'm fascinated about a lot of like the micro things in leagues like this. So double round robin, obviously, as we explained, every team plays each other twice. But I'm also curious about teams like Incorrect. Like, are they getting scrims against these top teams to be able to prepare for this? Are they just coming in cold? And therefore, when they do eventually get into these games, are they going to really be able to adjust over the course of the season? I think OG right now is showing that they have not really lost their touch. They're playing at a good pace, but other than that, I'm always kind of fascinated about how teams who are able to sneak their way in, as we mentioned, will be able to actually handle this pressure, especially now when they're starting to play major winners G2 a little bit later.
Oh boy. Speaking of major winners, if they keep playing like this, OG might win this entire event. My goodness, they are dismantling Incorrect to start this one off. And not as if we're seeing Incorrect play poorly here. It's just, again, every touch right now for OG seems to have some purpose. If they're moving downfield, they're making sure to get a connection to a teammate. And if they're not getting a connection to a teammate, they're at least causing problems. It's not surprising with Nolan and Calm being the two players that they are. But great example here, Calm causing a problem for everyone on defense. The open shot for Nolly goes a bit off target, but great example of this cohesive play. The march downfield has been so effective every time.
Noli thought he might be able to bobble that one, but how dare I doubt him, because not only is he all the way down, he actually flicks out on target for Toasty to deal with. And the former Oxygen Man will be able to get on top of that. Feels like ages ago where LJ was on, LJ, Krazix, and Toasty, I believe was the Oxygen roster. Feels so old now.
Is Krazix still playing Rocket League at this point? Like, I genuinely don't think I've heard that name in a handful of years now, and it's a bit of a shame because that Oxygen roster was something else, but I think Toasty was definitely the highlight off that roster and continues to be. Toasty has been such an impressive player to watch this season, but I do think it's a bit hard when you're a team like Incorrect, when you are players at this level, with the spotlight always being so much further up the line rather than just the top 16. It's a bit difficult to even show yourselves as high-level competitors, but this team absolutely is. They've earned the spot here in Shift Summer League. They have earned their spot as mainstays within the professional scene. I'm just hoping maybe they can earn themselves at least a goal here in the first game. As much as I want to see OG win, I do at least want a little bit of a fight.
Yes, and for everybody in the YouTube, because this is also being simulcast onto the YouTubes, one thing to bring up about all of this is that when you are looking at OG, this is one of the teams that has made it into every single major within the RLCS, and honestly coming into this one as a double round robin game. This is a good practice coming into the World Championship a little bit later in September. But all the teams that are playing against, it's a mixture of RLCS level squads who have been playing in NA all season long, and then a mixture of teams that have been kind of able to not get an invite specifically, but then be able to qualify through all these different events. Every single Tuesday and Wednesday for the next, I believe, 3 weeks is all going to be stuff like this. Nobody's going off the backboard, but just generally all a bunch of games. It's 3 today, this being the first of them, and then 3 tomorrow.
If they keep going like this, though, it's going to be a pretty short day. My goodness, 4-0 here, and we've got about 40 seconds left. A dominant victory so far, but actually, you don't know. I'm going to say a dominant victory. I was going to say there's a chance at a turnaround here, but 4 goals in 38 seconds. I think you have better odds on the lottery.
Yeah, it's been working so far, but then again, I'm always a little bit wary in the professional scene to be like, wow, this series is looking pretty clean from OG, when in reality, it's really only been 1 game, and we know what newly rank S Flitz is capable of. Speaking of, nearly immediately call him into action just by mentioning him on the cast. Hitting that double tap would be a nice boost for Incorrect, but for right now, they're gonna have to settle probably for the shutout, as OG looks like they have everything locked down, and now Wonder Mike just has one more chance trying to combine with Flitz.
Oh, back pass to Toasty. Let's see if you can cook something up here, Incorrect. I'd like to, you know, sniff what you're cooking. And I don't think I'm going to. Flitz, nope, not going to make contact there. OG will take game 1 in shutout fashion, 4-0. And again, not surprising, just hoping that maybe the rest of the series looks like this, because I don't think we've seen the best out of Incorrect quite yet.
No, and that's the scary thing, honestly, about a lot of these games is when you're saying, like, okay, well, you know, that didn't look super great. But honestly, that's part of why I mentioned there is, like, a little bit of gatekeepiness sometimes in RLCS with, like, scrims and, like, whether or not they can actually, like, demand them from other teams. Like, hey, guys, we're trying to get warmed up. Anyone want to play? And it's like, no. Back in the day, that was kind of the mentality that a lot of bubble players dealt with, apparently. They would get into RLCS. They'd be like 13th or 16th or something. Oh, my barrel just completely failed. And we're back. Okay, that scared me. Sorry, chat. You got to see the preview mode. It was a great thing to be able to spectate. But ideally, we like to spectate the actual game, as I think we lost someone while they're trying to change their car. JNabs. Classic JNabs. He's just so slow.
I appreciate you guys. You're making sure that I can get into the game. I know you want me there so badly so that I'm able to cast in-game instead of through, you know, a feed. But it's not going to happen. Instead, they're going to have to just play through. You know, they're going to have to play on without me. I know, OG. It's so difficult. But honestly, nothing's been difficult for them so far, to be honest. They have dominated game 1. See if they can do the same here in game 2.
So going over into Salty Shores, shout out to, I believe, Stumpy RoboThing is actually the mod, or is actually the admin for this one. So shout out, longtime bud. And gave me a little bit of a tease because I was the last person in the lobby before test lobby ended. But either way, should be fine, especially when Noli's played defense like this. How is that a save? I'd like to see another one, and JNabs will oblige.
You ask for it, and they will show you exactly how they can. Flitz continue to cause problems here, and it's very clear this is a much more aggressive version of Incorrect here in this game. The problem is, though, if you're all-out aggression, you need to be able to scramble back quickly, and had JNAP's been able to get a bit of a better pass out center, there's no way they're going to be back on that defense. Luckily enough for them, though, won't concede quite yet. A minute gone here, and Calm might actually give up the first goal because this is awkward. The shot's there, and the follow-up is not. Wondermike instead retreating to midfield, and unfortunately, the one moment they did need all-out aggression is the one moment they retreat.
And then the DC OG still trying to combine. OG, one of the more creative passing teams. Not necessarily that they use passing more than other teams, but they always go for kind of those tiny extensions. And Incorrect, I think, do a better job than Game 1, stopping that one down. They're certainly not necessarily excelling in the scoring department still looking at a shutout here, but at the very least, I think starting off without giving something 5 seconds in is a general improvement, but how about 90 seconds in? There's one pass, maybe JNAP's in the back post. I had hope, but no aerial yet.
I'm more patient in front of the goal mouth than on the backboard right now are Incorrect. Kind of feels like they're waiting for these shots, these passing plays through mid that initially were catching them off guard because OG are so effective at that. Now they're more aware of them. Now they're more prepared for them, and now they're kind of playing patiently enough that the defense is not getting caught off guard and are able to launch counterattacks freaking quickly. That's what the attempt was there, but instead, Toasty actually reads that play, retreats, and after Wondermike's save, he's back on defense and ready. That is not a good 50, though. A lot of bad plays in a row, but Incorrect will not get punished. Never mind, they absolutely will.
Noli, massive. Look at this 50. It's the extension afterwards that really blows my mind. He's able to get this one on Wunda, but then backflip. Hasn't got a reset off of that one, or maybe just held it for that much longer. Either way, that completely bamboozled the backline.
It was a very confusing play both for OG and for Incorrect, if I'm being honest there. Neither team really knew when the escape was going to happen, but sometimes that's what you got to do. Get down and dirty, get a little bit physical with your opponents, and although we've seen that a lot out of Incorrect in this game, who are trying to make spaces on the back end, good example with a demo and a bump actually happening in that play, they're just not doing it effectively, and that's the issue of not being able to find that perfect balance between all-out aggression and all-out defense. We mentioned it multiple times here where they've had the chance to send the third man, and instead of doing so, they try to hold on to that pressure out at midfield. It's something you've actually mentioned before, Taco. You're not really a fan of the full send attitude, but it definitely still kind of feels like at certain moments, Incorrect are having a chance to do exactly that and then leaving the opportunities at the table. Oh boy.
And it's even worse when you're losing 50s. Noli gets this one, but I really want to rewind and just watch this. Flitz has this one. Wondermike gets demoed, and then immediately 50 comes through. But I love the ability from Noli to completely plant the wheels, turn inside preemptively, just to be able to make sure that goes on through. And it shows just how incredibly difficult it is to be able to play this game, because you're just saying, okay, all I'm going to do is take a 50, and suddenly my entire team is off the field, and I'm alone.
It's a bit difficult when you're facing two of the most demo-heavy players in the history of RLCS and Noli and Calm. They're going to continually put problems against you, and honestly, they're going to continue to put pressure on you even off the ball. One of the most impressive things about OG is that they're not always looking for those demos after swinging through an offense. They're just looking for demos in general because they know they're effective enough to do that. The issue, though, is it's now left JNAP's here by his lonesome. Calm retreating back, trying to make the save, and he will, but there's more job left to be done. Wondermike, never mind, does not cut. I thought one of the players from Incorrect would try to cut out of midfield to keep the offense going, but instead, it's a full-on retreat and a defense now necessary.
Could be another deflection up high for Toasty, this time to be able to send toward the sky, because it's very much over the bar, but not going to trouble Noli. He's been on fire, getting those lighter touches on top of the goal almost, and getting an assist from Calm in an indirect way with that miss, but not going to really work out. So it looks like we've kind of petered out on the offense a little bit with our 2-0. Calm might be able to keep it going, but Flitz gets that rare beat over off the crossbar. Wondermike tries to get there, and JNAP's is still just a wall.
He's just not letting anything get past. So many opportunities where you're seeing JNAP's as the lone man back, really even out at midfield, and he's been able to handle it so well. Just worry that if OG keep playing with fire, eventually they are going to get burned. Here's an example of how it could happen, but Wondermike, the lead blocker, full-on misses Noli, and that's the freest counterattack of his life.
Calm does not miss, though. Look at him off camera, taking out Flitz. And again, it's just those off-ball demos that can be so brutal because you rotate based on the assumptions that you know exactly where everyone else is. The moment one person's out and a challenge fails, those are one too many dominoes that are going to be falling that are going to lead to that goal. OG starting to creep forward again on the scoreline. Last game felt like it really got out of hand quickly, and this one feels like much more of a slow burn, but it's very much still going to sting.
same amount of domination here, even if there is a 1-goal difference. It doesn't feel as if we saw any real threatening plays out of Incorrect in this game. They got closer to a goal on repeat, but the big issue, like we said, was those follow-up touches. With so much disruption from OG, they were so scared to send that third man upfield because they knew the counterattack was inevitable if they failed on it. It's an understandable play style, but it's not one that's going to win them this series, and it's definitely not one that's going to win them this game. 15 seconds to go, and at this point it's a formality and maybe just an opportunity for OG to score another.
I don't know how much Shift is really covering a lot of the stats. I'd assume so, considering they pretty much operate the Octane stat system. JNABs with a patented double from the Canadian legend. Let's look at this one. This is just so pretty.
This is so beautiful, and honestly, it's just rubbing salt in the wounds at this point. Incorrect, recognizing the fact that they have now set themselves up for a repeat performance. 2 4-0s in a row. Taco, imagine if OG started off their entire Summer League with a perfect sweep.
I don't even dare to mention that one just because of the risk, but they're certainly feeling it as they're going for the craziest. One of my classic favorites, OG, going for that ceiling play. I was talking to Reddles actually in London, and he says OG goes for that a lot in scrims. He's like, they've hit it a lot against us last season. He's like, it was actually hyper annoying how good they are. So he's like, only a matter of time before they start hitting them all the time in games. So craziness going on there in terms of how those teams are getting ready for these games, how this is all looking. But yeah, as we said, OG might be starting off with a perfect sweep, which is a good thing to see because as longtime fans of OG know, this team really locks in for regionals. Hello. Oh, nice little cat appearance. I could also show my black cat, but she's slightly out of reach. She's just, oh, she's actually right behind me. But but either way, OG is a great team within regionals, within domestic, and then they go LAN, and by their own admission, they're like, it feels like we probably could have like stepped up a little bit, or maybe we didn't play quite up to our potential. So stuff like this gives me a lot of hope that it's not even just victories, it's like slap people around.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we get to see a second game, or excuse me, a third game here where it's the same sort of just repeat performance, the same sort of level of domination, the same sort of cohesive play. And honestly, that's the word I want to focus on here, is that OG, despite the fact that Noli has been at the forefront of offense here with 5 shots in the last game, 7 shots in the first, it's not as if he's just getting these shots for free. He's not the always first man. It's good cohesive plays, it's bump plays, it's pass plays, it's everything working as a unit. And if they can do that here in game number 3, who's to say they can't keep that out throughout the rest of the league? Already starting off strong, though. Good offense being built here. Can they make anything of it, though?
Com's going to have to gather this one, or rather just watch Flitz go to work instead. A lot of 1v1 that man plays, but now it's going to be turned on its head. Com down the far side. No read. JNAP's trying to get to it, and good cut in by Flitz to make sure that wasn't yet another inevitable goal.
Not quite a goal yet. Could actually be a goal for Incorrect here, as they are trying to get something started. Finally, they find their first goal, and I'll tell you what, it took every ounce of boost to get it.
There was a part of me that it's like, I think JNABs actually clutches this out, because he had the right flip. The problem is Toasty had a slightly better angle, and certainly far more momentum. So Incorrect taking their first lead of the series, and on DFH, a lot of these players, they read it up pretty quickly, so maybe Incorrect knew the problems. They're like, nah, we just got to keep on pushing because we don't need to really overthink this one. Just got to make sure we're not giving away anything too easy. Another off-ball demo, but the goalie was very much intact.
Something I've noticed a lot with OG, though, is that when they do get scored on, they don't tend to take that all too lightly, especially if Flitz is kind of stunting on you. I'll go back to my point again when they get another offense. Right now, credit where it's due. Flitz.
Oh my
God.
What? And the turtle finish on the flick. If he actually got that to pop up and in, that would have been legitimately one of the best solo goals I've ever seen.
It still might go up there, I'm not going to lie. And honestly, because of the fact that he does it against OG, a world-class team, and he's able to, you know, have individual performances like that, it ain't easy. And it's so difficult, actually. That's the first time they've been able to get a couple of goals in 2 games. 10 minutes scoreless, but did not take them very long to finally get the goals on the board. And once they did, it was an outpouring of offense. The response here at OG needs to be swift. I do not want to see Incorrect start to gain momentum.
Flitz going to take a really solid touch, not only get past one, but also getting a bump on that player. Com, no boost, able to make do. So now he will say, well, now I have the boost, so we'll start to aggressive with that. Noli going to get stolen over the top as Wondermike tries to capitalize. Jam says more than enough of an angle on this one, but do they have Toasty locked down? Top shelf, still saved away.
It's not quite out yet, though. Midfield starting to build here. Incorrect. Trying for anything just to keep this offense going, and I think they're going to get it. Bump in front of net. It's 3-0 when it's not even been 2 minutes.
Oh, how dare we even tempt the idea this is going to be a perfect sweep. At this point, it looks like Incorrect playing real well. A lot better on the punishes, and obviously on the demos as well. Wondermike making that happen, gets the assist rightfully so. And Incorrect, I don't know what the halftime talk was there in between games 2 and 3, but I think it's working.
No, Tordad's got this right. This is for content. They're setting up the turnaround here. They want to make sure that they can go 3 goals down, so when JNaps hits 3 double flip resets in a row, we're not expecting it. I'm not expecting that challenge out of Wonder Mike, though. Despite the fact that they have a 3-goal lead, it doesn't feel like Incorrect are slowing down whatsoever. They want the same amount of aggression, and to be honest, when most of their goals are coming through bump plays or physicality, I can't necessarily blame them. I'll blame them for that one, though. That shot should have never gone in.
Really good awareness, though, from Calm, even though it looks pretty ordinary. He's turning on this one, and honestly, I'm looking at the pass. Maybe he could tap to the sidewall, but I think he just glances up and he's like, why is Splits out of goal? Why is Wonder Mike in the midfield? And why is Toasty off to the sideline? There's nobody back. Let's just take a shot, see what happens. And he guessed correctly that Flitz did not have the recovery in time, so a little bit of a freebie. I don't know what the rest of the goals that OG might be able to muster up here will be the same level of difficulty. That save, though, was very much world-class difficulty.
We got some more work to be done here, though. The defense a little bit out of whack and low on boost. Calm, the only real one with anything in the tank, and he's going to get some bumps to lead the way. Maybe he can get the charge downfield. Pass out. Nolly finally with a full tank will pop it out to the corner, where unfortunately the Mike is waiting. Incorrect, starting to get a little bit better of a midfield control here. They're starting to read these passing plays before they can even connect, and honestly, I think OG are going to need to find another way to make these transitions happen at the same ferocity that they had before.
Flitz, nice pass out to Toasty. Unfortunately, it is a little too toasty on that shot, and maybe takes it less heat off. Who knows if that could have gone in. Janos making sure the follow-up does not. It's Wonder Mike gonna wrap around, gonna take his chance, pinch off the middle into Noli, but then right into Toasty. Rotation from Incorrect night and day from earlier on in this series. Looking like they're hopping on a lot of these reads, except for this one, but Wonder Mike, I guess, chose right on the Fig Chow.
Still a lot more left in this game, though. With about 100 seconds to go, and OG's finally starting to find ways to actually generate some offense, it still feels like this game is winnable. Not if this gets scored, though, and they won't let it happen. That's actually everybody upfield from Incorrect. Make a quick enough passing play, and there is a chance, but Wonder Mike and Flitz barely back in time, but not with boost to work with. Wonder Mike just trying to navigate a way out, and he might have actually almost costed his team a goal. That shot never would have actually gone towards target, but the double commit caused them a little bit of chaos, and it's going to cause it further. Incorrect, trying to move downfield, but with low boost on most of their players, they don't have much of a route to get through this defense. How about here? 1-to-double denied on the line.
Really good control from Wonder Mike, player who has always been known for really close aerial mechanics and honestly the ground mechanics. One of the first things I feel like people knew him for was just a Twitter video of him keeping the ball up on his car while just holding power slide, just pulling donuts, and thinking this is such a disgustingly good thing to see. I'd love to see him on the pitch, and now all the Incorrect fans are very much getting to do so, and with 40 seconds remaining, he's going to be able to stunt that way into potentially Incorrect's first win so long as the defense can hold.
I'm still got some boost to work with and some space to work with, but not necessarily the pinch out that he's looking for. Nolly trying to correct his teammates' mistakes, but can't quite. And it's another instance where I feel like this is happening a lot now. JNaps being left by his lonesome. The two-headed Hydra out of Calm and Noli are just not getting past the defense with the same effectiveness as the first couple games. And although JNaps is able to handle that on defense, it's not necessarily the best strategy to just keep leaving him out there on an island by himself. 10 seconds to go. I think the comeback's out of question here, but at least they can get a goal for the road. OG gonna take their first loss here in Summer Series, but they still have a pretty good lead on the series itself.
Yeah, highly unfortunate, but at the end of the day, this is an elite collection of NA talent, so you're gonna have to take a loss there a little bit, as Flitz apparently experiencing some lag a little bit near the end of this one. Don't think that will be too big of a deal, as we will remake the lobby and see how that one works out. So maybe that's going to give us a little bit more time to think through things and figure out how this one's really going to shake out.
I still think this is going to be the same sort of result. I'm not really expecting after a loss like that everything's going to change, but the big concern I do have is that we need to find a way to be more effective on offense without it costing us our midfield and our defense right now. Again, we keep seeing this with Nolly and Calm diving downfield, getting some good passing plays, but as soon as the stop on the line happens, it's boomed out of the half. Incorrect, a lot more efficient at clearing those lines, clearing the pressure, and then immediately putting it back onto JNaps, who has to try and make some heroic plays as the last man back. It's an effective strategy. It's not a bad one. It's just one of those ones where you look at it and go, this is way too vulnerable. A team like Incorrect, if they find the opportunity, they'll take advantage.
Yeah, it's never going to be a fun time when you start to let a team get on a roll, because any team at any level, when you get to that the day 3 level talent, rank X, collection, rank S teams, they're going to punish you repeatedly. So that got a little out of hand, but that's fine because every game kind of happens like this. Occasionally you'll see some moments where there is opportunities, and sometimes they don't execute, sometimes they do. This time, I would say Incorrect does. So as we get into this kind of new lobby, we're still waiting for admin to contact everyone to plug it in and to actually load through. I think this is a good time to be able to actually take a step back and analyze, like, okay, we maybe got a little bit overbearing on that one, a little over cocky. So as we load into this one, I think this should be a fun time for OG to be able to say, okay, well, you have punched back. We're able to figure out how this one's going to work out, and we'll have the test lobby to slowly commence.
I gotta hope that this is the one, honestly, just because of the fact that I don't really want either one of these teams to slow down. I'm glad to be seeing Incorrect with a little bit more of a fight back, and I'm glad to see OG not really seem too frazzled at the end of that game. Despite the fact that they did go down, they seem to play the similar type of strategy. They didn't play poorly. It's just kind of a game, and at the end of the day, that's all you really need to do is just make sure that the vibes are high. Mental, one of the biggest parts of Rocket League, and if you take a second to even throw that mental off a bit, it can mess with the team and their chances here. So, looks like we're not going to skip a beat here. We're going straight on into our next game. Looks like the lobby was good, so Taco, let's hope we can close out here in 4. As much as I'd like to see this summer shift league, start off with a bang, I don't need them to go 5. I'm cool without that.
Yeah, to answer the questions, just people briefly heard some music, some sounds going on. That's a test lobby. So we had to remake a lobby. We're getting back into it. This is going to be game 4 within this best of 5. All games within the summer series, Summer League. Sorry, there's 2 different summer leagues.
It's so hard, dude.
Fast and I are casting 2 different summer. There's the Summer Series, which is collegiate, and then there's the Shift Summer League. And so my brain keeps going back and forth between them. But no, the Shift Summer League is double round robin, all best of 5. So yeah, we're going into game 4 as they've just approved the lobby, and we should be in once Wonder Mike is back from his
ready up, Wonder. Come on, ready up.
Taking his time, taking a big chug of water. Crazy.
Taken more time than it took him to come back to Rocket League after retiring. Come on now, man. Let's go. Let's hurry this one up a little bit. Hey, I think we finally got it. Please give us game 4 of this best of 5. I don't know, man. Something about this. I just feel like OG's about to come in here and absolutely tear their opponents apart.
I mean, I'd like to see that. I would like to see the comeback here. I would like to see how this one is going to work here on Estadio Vida, and as we get into this one, whether or not it actually accidentally gave Incorrect a victory for the test lobby, a classic little bit of shenanigans. As yeah, Bass, don't worry, we're good. We're good for now.
I can't believe you did that to us. You really gave Incorrect a free win, Taco. How dare you do something like that? Although realistically,
yeah, but no, this happens so frequently. This actually happened to VOD the other day as well. That I was like, I only point this out because this is something that happens literally all the time. So
every time.
It is something that unfortunately will be an inevitable thing. I'm not a professional producer, so we're just gonna have to ride through this one. I know you're all disappointed, but I'll try to earn your trust back.
Yeah, you've earned my trust only slightly here, Taco. It's been, what, 3 years of us casting together, and still sometimes I gotta second guess myself and be like, is he going to? Do I trust this man? I trust OG, and I think technically that means I have to trust you as well. Because so far here in this game, it's not started off like the last one. Last time Incorrect started the game with 2 goals in about 30 seconds. This time it's a little bit more of a clean slate.
Yeah, I would like for Flitz to not be able to clip on us again. As much as I would love the social media to be popping for every single one of these teams, I'd like to be against other teams, like other teams that are not necessarily us, and get clipped on and everyone shared, because Reddit already has an allergic reaction whenever they even want to mention OG. So the last thing I want to do is be on a clip from an opponent.
We are not casting to Reddit. I refuse. I'm definitely not taking that into account at any point when it comes to the way this team plays, nor the way that we cast.
I think you actually can cast to Reddit, because I know there's lives. I know there's lives on Reddit. I really do wonder if I could stream to Reddit.
Look, all I'm saying is that the most what's the word here? Like, capitalized on stream by far, Steam streams. People seem to forget that you can literally stream through Steam, and I feel like that's a market nobody's taking advantage of. JNabs trying to take advantage of a little bit of lackluster defense here. It's a bit flat-footed on the line, but still, no goals here so far through 2 minutes of play.
JNabs waiting for a 50. Tosi's like, nah, bro. I'm not touching that one. I will gladly back up. And I suppose that does work. So OG has to retreat, and Com with no boost going to have to just kind of easily follow this one. Another deflection in. A little bit of a double commit. Shouldn't hurt us too much, although no one's going to be able to get on this one except for Flitz. 40 boost. That's more than enough for him to do some damage with Com. Picks his pocket from underneath, and we get out again.
A little bit scary there, though. That spike to the ceiling used a whole lot of boost and really didn't give much of a room for any retreat. It's a bit better, though. Nolly, not much space, though, on this one. One to Mike, the immediate collapse. And again, it's JNaps who has to be by his lonesome on the back end. He's well prepared for it, but it really does feel like a lot of this dump and chase attitude. We send Calm and Nolly upfield. They do get some good offense, but as soon as Incorrect finds some sort of stop there, they immediately have to retreat. Need to find a way to sustain this offense for a little bit longer. The passing plays that were quick and to the point before almost costed us our first goal there. My goodness, we are very lucky that Flitz didn't just bang that on target.
Yeah, I think Flitz, it's one of those moments where you challenge quickly, you're guaranteeing there's going to be someone low or someone taking a 50, so he tries to take it high, be able to deflect it above the goal, and then as he hits it, he's like, oh, come on. Really, the timing on that just did not work out. But hey, happens to the best of us. And Flitz is definitely among the best of us, definitely the most well-known player, I would say, in the current iteration of the Incorrect roster, and for good reason, but of course, all three of these guys on OG are also super well-known. So as Calm starts to do what he is best known for, take some demos, maybe it's something we can march into as JNaps tries to take it across Toasty, but a solid challenge and boost grab.
Oh, good pop-up from Toasty as well, forcing Nolly into an awkward position here. More awkward positions! I want to call that intentional. I don't know if I can, but I can call it a banger of a first goal.
That's a tough one. Noli gets the first save, but then Toasty just gets a little bit of a doink. I thought it skimmed Wunda, but no, it actually just a straight-up doink into the near post. I think Nolly wasn't anticipating it being directly at him. He gets most of the ball, but most does not count if it's still going to cross that threshold. Second straight game in which Incorrect has opened up the scoring and taken a lead.
I'm not loving that. I truly might turn into the caster curse of all caster curses here, man. Like, literally, I have a knack for this already, but the fact that we were up 8-0 in this series, and the moment that we start to relish upon said 8-0 is the moment that Incorrect start to wake up. JNaps, put him back to sleep if you don't mind. Absolutely trying to, and the defense of Incorrect, I'll give them this, they're resilient. Every save seems to be last second, but still barely in time.
Now they're really low on boost. That clear really does help there from Flitz. Had all but 20 boosts and still got it away. JNaps not happy with the last one. Go for something else. The fake musty. I love how quickly that's become like a respected mechanic, especially with some bumps. The good old classic from JNaps. Not able to get out that defender though.
Uh-oh, this one's a little bit awkward. Calm and JNaps both diving for this, which means there's not really going to be a follow-up on this play. Eventually, Noli will get to it, but he won't make contact, and JNaps will try to come to the rescue. Good 50. Gives time now for Noli to try again. Pass out center. Calm is there, and he's expecting a 50 that never arrives. No players from Incorrect are going to give him a free dive. If they don't have to touch it, they won't. They might need to do something here. JNaps to the backboard. Off of it. Where's the follow? Nolly on in! And with under 10 to go, OG tie it.
And just a very classic situation for OG. How many times? And that's why, honestly, when Seb and I used to talk about these games, part of us are nervous, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, OG's so clutch. I'm not really worried about this. Like, they'll find a way to score at like 10 seconds remaining. And what do you know? Here it is. OG has tied things up in game 4, trying to end the series right here and there. And Incorrect fighting with all their being to avoid that. JNaps off the corner. Can he find someone? Calm going to hit that one directly high, so Flitz will have one more chance, which Noli will not play hero on. Why would he? Spike it down. Let's take some OT.
I appreciate that. That looked a little bit too risky. Numbers the other way. Had Noli kept that one up, definitely would be playing in the air for just a couple seconds longer. But instead, we'll play an OT where Noli will try to seal the deal. The win barely kept away from OG, but now here's some sustained offense. Can they work with it? Nolly again, up high, looking for the bump, gets it on one, and JNaps to finish the job. Not even 20 seconds into OT, a 30-second turnaround wins it for OG.
What a first touch from Noli, getting the perfect little lob up, getting the air dribble, taking out the first defender, and that just made everybody panic on Incorrect. So, as Tordad has predicted, it's all for content. We got to extend the series out a little bit since all the games start out on the hour, but now OG has a little bit of waiting until the next one, but they can do so with a smile on their face, closing it out with some half-decent game differential.
I would say a pretty decent one, at least in my opinion. As much as it is, yeah, okay, we give up a goal and we end up not being able to, force that overtime pretty organically, 10 seconds left. I'm fine with that, though. At the end of the day, if OG are kind of facing this offense, or I guess I should say defense that isn't letting them get passing plays, isn't letting them get this high-efficiency offense that we were used to at the beginning of the series, fine. Wait for your opportunity. When that opportunity does arrive, do the most with it. It was nice to see OG for the first time in a hot minute have an offense denied and then immediately swing back through midfield, keep that offense going, and eventually they find a goal from it in comparison to the long balls downfield that kept catching JNaps off guard, as we had alluded to so many times throughout that series.
I am trying to check in on results right now for the team play, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, the only match reported, I believe Dignitas and Gen G played first. I think Dignitas just 3-0'd Gen G. I need to check that, just in case it's not like a differential reporting, but according to the website here, as we try to take a look over at this, I believe the table shows that Dignitas is the only reported game with a 3-0, and the only other loss is Gen G. So,
Zenil
wow.
diff.
Yeah, I guess that's just how it is with Dignitas. Yeah, is that their roster that they're playing with? Yeah, it's Arsenal,
so
Evo,
it's
and Zenil.
Evo, Arsenal, and Zenil.
And then G2 just confirmed a 3-0 over Shopify Rebellion. I will say Shopify Rebellion is in an awkward situation because this week they're actually playing with Memory, who is an ex-pro player, but he's subbing out 2-piece, which is a huge loss for Shopify. So that's going to be affecting them a little bit. I think it's actually mentioning, it's actually mentioning right here on the page that he will be playing the entirety of week 1. So that is 6 full games.
I'm not sure if that's the best decision for SR. I know that they probably can't they probably have no say in that in any capacity about that, but that's not going to be easy for them, especially considering they're facing 3 out of the 4 teams that are going to the major right now. So this is going to be difficult for them, but I do believe in their abilities, and hopefully they believe in their abilities as well, especially Memory. But honestly, I'm still kind of hung up on Dignitas. I cannot believe that Dignitas has taken a 3-0 over Gen G. I knew that Zenil would make a huge difference for that team, but I definitely did not believe it was going to happen in a sweeping fashion. Not at all.
I was told there apparently is a button that says detailed league play. Is it maybe just this? Is that it? Is that what we're looking for? Yes, it is. Oh,
yeah, I think it's just league play.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, excellent. So yeah, 3-0 for Dignitas. That is the new look. So good for them. Also, this continues kind of the narrative that I've been kind of getting into. That obviously, I mean, you shouldn't throw glass stones or stones at a glass house, but like with OG, it feels like for domestically, like we've been pretty consistent. We've been like pretty up and down at times, but for the most part, like we're doing well. And then Gen G, like they just kind of have these weird results, and this is another one. Like, yes, I love Zenil, and I'm a huge fan of him succeeding on a team, but I did not expect a sweep.
No, not even relatively. I'm trying to find the exact score. Oh my god! 2-1 in game 1. All right, fine. 5-0 in game 2, and then 4-3 overtime in game 3. Dignitas did not just win this; they dismantled them at certain points. Oh my gosh!
SSG going to game 5 against. I always forget who this fun team is. It's just
so
fun.
That's T. Carell. Yes. It's T. Carell, Talk, and
Xander.
Who's the third?
AKA Nitrous, I think.
Yeah, Nitrous. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting thing to be able to slowly show. But yeah, as you can tell, guys, there's going to be a lot of RLCS level action this summer. This is 3 straight weeks of matches, Tuesday and Wednesday, just as a reminder. So I'll be live on every Tuesday, Wednesday going forward. It's 3 best-of-5s every single day, so just so much to watch. So if anyone's complaining, like, there's nothing to watch, like, midweek or going on, then obviously you guys need to apparently be checking out the trending tab on Liquipedia, because this is going to be something to watch. Actually, all day, because EU does it in the afternoon for NA time.
There's literally so much going on for all of Rocket League right now. If you guys are not paying attention to that, you are doing yourself a disservice. Usually we have RLCS offseason where it's a little bit quiet. This year has not been the same. And honestly, we're not even in the true offseason yet. We're just in the in-between period between majors and worlds. So I'm loving this. I hope that the audience at home is loving this as well. Because look, what's not to love about an OG 3-1 here? You know, it's not a sweep, but it's still a dominant victory.
Yeah, right now, actually, I kind of want to tune into the SSG match as it is on Chief Beef's channel, because he's hosting that one. Shout out Chief Beef. Was actually able to do a co-stream with him in London, which is nice. And apparently, fun is up! 2-1 with 13 seconds to go in Game 5 against Space Station. That's actually insane.
Talk built different, bro. Talk
really
is just absolutely built different. He's the next... If you guys don't already follow Talk and don't understand who he is, I'm going to highly recommend you do it before he blows up into the stratosphere. This kid is unbelievable. Most Canadian players at this point have kind of state the same thing, which is, yeah, he's the best Canadian player not on a team yet. JNAP's obviously, JNAP's creams, but Talk is the next guy up, and if you're not paying attention to him now, well, you probably should. That result might just be able to point out why.
I'm a huge fan of T. Corel. I'm a member of the Coral Reef, as we say. But other than that, Talk, fellow Nova Scotian, tiny area of Canada, and it has both JNAPs and Talk there. So nice to see. It was slowly see that. And yeah, apparently SSG taking an L in that one. Kind of an interesting start to Summer Series for them, but apparently I feel a little bit better that we were not, it's not like all the other major teams just swept and then we're just like, oh no, incorrect. Like, how's that going to feel? It's like, no, everyone is kind of on the struggle bus right now.
Yeah, Talk is going to be a player that many people are going to pay attention to for a while, but I also do think we're getting a lot of struggle bus just in general out of some of these teams this summer, just because, look, for the teams that have already made worlds and are well established, they're like, yeah, cool, you know, it's awesome. We get to play, we get to practice, we get all of that. But you got to remember, this means a lot more to the teams underneath it who are hungry, looking for chances to prove themselves. And if you're a team like Fun, taking a win over SSG does exactly that. You put yourselves in the eyes of Oryx, you put yourselves in the eyes of many other people who are looking for prospective players, prospective teams similar to that. So shout out to Fun, man. That's a really big win for them, and I'm glad that they're able to get it, even at the expense of SSG, which, you know, nobody wants. Look, NA's got some depth. That's the first time I can say that in, what, like 2 years?
I mean, yeah, that's really all we wanted. We wanted some, like, exchange of things. It's also boring when the favorites always win. But we do have Zoltik saying, who's on Team Canada for FIFA E? FIFA E, by the way, was announced during London. It is essentially a World Cup held by the FIFA Esports kind of like commission where they run FIFA tournaments, but now apparently they've added in Rocket League. I wouldn't be even too crazy. I feel like JNaps and maybe Talk could be like two of those members. I'm not sure if they'd want to include like maybe Sosa, technically Lefmere and Squishy could still be available. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have to ask Seb what he would think as a resident Canadian and OG
gotta be Creams, right?
Here. I don't know if Creams counts. Is he allowed to play if he lives in Canada, but he's actually Welsh?
So I believe he is technically Canadian because he did grow up in Canada, like, he is a Canadian player.
Okay, if he has citizenship, then I think Cream should definitely be, like, on. I think Cream's Talk and JNaps would be a solid team.
Dude, Cream's Talk and JNaps might be the best version possible. I know that Squishy, Lethemir, and Sosa are probably going to have something to say about that. They will probably disagree. Same with Taroko, who, look, give him credit. Taroko's had some pretty impressive results throughout the season. I don't know, man. Talk's on the way up. He's kind of proven himself. It's very rare you get a co-sign from the JNaps himself. And the fact that JNaps, like, if you guys head over to his Twitter, which you should already follow JNaps, OG Esports player, he's awesome. If you follow JNaps, you probably have seen this where he literally, they won an event with him. And JNaps doesn't really give the co-sign often, but for him to literally just post on Twitter being like, hey, shout out to Talk. This kid is next up. Do not pass on the opportunity to talk, to sign him. Goes to show there's a lot of faith in him being the next generation from Canada.
Yeah, and being able to have all that lovely stuff going on with Canada and being able to actually slowly get these results together and become to the forefront of a scene is really impressive. But it's also moments like this from Talk that I like to see because JNaps actually gave him a shout out. They did a Canada Day tournament cast by shout out Lemon Kiwi and Seb Dot, and they were able to win that event. And JNaps was like, "Hey, Talk is incredible. Give him a shot." And he's actually done really well with that opportunity, obviously, so far. So hopefully that is going to be something that we will see plenty more of in the future. And hopefully we'll see more OG in the future because they still have 2 matches to go, chat. We're going to throw to a brief break here because we have to wait 17 minutes until our next match. And honestly, there's only so much to talk about. So please use the restroom, get some meals, and hopefully we'll be seeing you guys very soon with more here on the Shift Summer League.
to do to make you feel right, make you feel alright. And everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Spreading for so long, spreading for so long. Do you feel right? Do you feel right? This is all I wanna know. Are you telling me that you'll be by my side when I wake up at night? Oh, and everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I love the city lights when you never look so bright. Oh, this is all I wanna know. Tell me you feel alright. Tell me you feel alright. Show me your face, don't push me away. You wanna feel right, you wanna feel right. Show me your face, don't push me away. You wanna feel right. Are you telling me that you'll be by my side when I wake up at night? Oh, and everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I love the city lights when you never look so bright. Oh, this is all I wanna know. Tell me you feel alright. Tell me you feel alright. You know you're so bright to me. You're the source of love for me. So tell me that you'll be by my side when I wake up at night. Oh, and everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I love the city lights when you never look so bright. Oh, this is all I wanna know. Tell me you feel alright. Okay. treasures I don't hold, and though the shine is dulled, that's how I'll always think of you. You were a young one then, but everyone begins. We were just children, heaven was a dream away. Running from monsters, I wish I could say that the keys that you were searching for, and the giants of the past have turned to dust. The world is ours to take, and no, it's not too late. The world is ours to take, and no, it's not too late. Just children and heaven was a dream away. Running from monsters, I just wanna say that the keys that you were searching for, and the giants of the past have turned to dust. The world is ours to take, and you know it's not too late.
Me and you and me was a dream at first. I got lost in your world, in your universe. I never thought our love would ever end.
Welcome back, everybody. We have some more of the OG Team stream here on my channel, and I'm so incredibly excited to say that this next one is going to be arguably the hardest one. It is Major Winners G2 Stride against OG in our second league play match here for the Shift Summer League. We're still with Bass, of course. He's not changed out. He'll be here all day. And I will say, I would like to avoid G2, but at a certain point, you just have to face your fears, and you just got to dive right in, you know?
Look, it's good practice before the World Championship. Like we talked about, there's kind of two scenarios for this one. There's the teams that didn't make Worlds who are looking at this as a chance to prove themselves, to try and get the attention of orgs, to try and get the attention of, you know, teams that might individually take players and give them opportunities. And then there's the teams that are actually playing at Worlds, and they're using this as straight up practice. And look, I'm not going to try and, beat around the bush on this one. Y'all need to practice versus G2 because they are quite literally the best team on the planet. And honestly, all teams kind of need practice against G2. So getting any sort of chances to play them before the World Championship is hugely beneficial.
Yes, we're still waiting for admins to make the test lobby and get it. Oh, as soon as
Wow.
I said that, they actually just made it. So, yes, we're going to be getting into the test lobby real quick. We will be checking ping, making sure everyone's good. And pending that, it should be ready pretty quickly as we've loaded in with our analyst, and our referee, rather, for the Shift Summer League. But other than that, I mean, it's been an interesting first round. Just to kind of recap for everyone, Reddle's Magic Cheese, aka the old LG squad, they are 1-0. They took a dub, I believe, over Poab, I believe is who they played. And OG, GT Stride, and Dignitas all taking wins, all within 4. So no game 5s as of yet for most of the squads.
It's honestly not too surprising. I do feel like day one is going to be a lot of teams kind of, facing litmus tests like we just talked about for Incorrect. We've not really been able to see them at a level against other teams that are of the caliber of OG, so now we got starting to see how good they are. And similar for the teams that are taking losses right now, not getting any games against a top-level team, it's really about also being able to adjust to this period. It's been a while since some of these players have even touched a professional event, like especially for the players that didn't play in London. This is the first real competition they've seen in, what, like 2 months?
Yeah, it's been tough for a lot of teams to be able to take a hefty offseason, but for RLCS players, London was a bit of a break. I think they just kind of decompress, recover, and they get back right into the grind, and so forth. They have all of the Shift Summer League to be able to play across as they slowly prep up for a brief respite before the World Championship, obviously taking place in September. We are going to be seeing a lot of interesting dynamics there as teams kind of ready up for that. And you guys can also help ready up if you go to the OG shop. !OG shop within the Twitch chat, I believe. It is very much where you can have your one-stop shop to get all of the OG stuff. I'm wearing one of their jerseys right now. You can also get the baseball jersey that 7i, hawk for endlessly. shop.ogs.gg. All you need to do. So ready up. Make sure you cheer on OG at the World Championship at Fort Worth in September, and should be an excellent time for all to be had, as it looks like our test lobby is looking pretty much all good to go, Bass.
I think we're about ready to get this one started, and honestly, I really hope that we can see OG hit the ground running in this series. I do not think that what they did in the last series is going to work nearly the same against this G2 squad, but if we can get 2 4-0s in a row to start off, I will not complain, especially against the G2 that rarely let teams score more than 1 goal against them, so this is going to be quite the test.
Yeah, it looks like Alpha Kep is streaming the G2 Stride matches, so, shout out to Kep and the Kep crew, but yeah, this is a incredibly terrifying team to play against. The whole time I was watching the grand final in London, and Calm was chilling next to me, and he was just saying to himself, he's like shaking his head, he's like, G2 is such an irritating team because even if you play perfectly, they still will probably score on you. It's like they're just so incredible, like they're just so much better. He's like, that's why he's like, I 100% believe in Reddles, where he said, if you truly believe there are 4 EU teams at the London Major better than this G2 squad, I never want you to hear to talk about Rocket League ever again, because they do play like that sometimes. But I will say, in our history against G2, we've actually been able to keep it pretty close as OG. We haven't been able to take a win quite yet, but we've been actually being very competitive in a lot of these games. So curious to see if JNAPS can finally get the dub over his old team.
I mean, look, the reality is that competitive against them is the best result anybody's been able to have against them. The only team that have beaten them so far, regional winners in Gen G, major winners in Gentlemates, that's the end of the list. Falcons did it once, and then we beat them immediately afterwards. Yes. Shout out NA, we got it done. G2, genuinely, probably the most dominant team on the planet, by far the most consistent team on the planet. That's not even an argument to be had. So, look, OG, throw a little bit of wrench in here. Throw in, just throw a couple of weird things here or there. Throw them off their game, and maybe this will get the momentum you need to take a win here. It'll be the first time G2 faces defeat in the best of 5 in a hot moment, especially in their own region. So, good luck to OG. I'm ready to see them get the upset.
And I'm ready to get into it. So indeed we will be. All the mutators turned off. We are out of the test lobby. We are into the real thing. Round 2 of double round robin league play here for the Shift Summer League. And it's going against the big bads of the region. The one team everyone's terrified to play against, and for good reason. What a pass down to Atomic.
And, well, you know, I want to act like I'm surprised that this is how we start on off, but really, you can't be when look how quickly Beast Mode is there. The pass down to Atomic is already happening as JNaps is expecting the shot to rip on. This is the type of speed you need to play against G2 with, and honestly, after playing against Incorrect, this is going to be a stark contrast and might take a while to adjust.
Yeah, it's pretty spooky when you do get into these moments where you're saying, all right, well, you know, we just have to step it up and obviously play at their speed, but playing at G2 speed is kind of like a fairy tale request from yourself because no one can really play at their speed. You just have to find a play style that works in counter to it. I think that's why Falcons were such a formidable opponent, because that's really the only team that can even remotely come close as Noli is trying to chase down Daniel, but of course, Daniel a bit too fast for that one as OG will try to set up camp off the side wall, but Atomic finds a way to get out.
I like the Daniel's too fast. Okay, well, another good example of Daniel is too fast. The speed on this shot, 75 miles an hour, and this is more or less a doink.
Yeah, a little bit, but able to get the air roll on this one, so the shot isn't on target. He knows the defender's coming across. He's got to hit it as high as possible to make that save a bit more unmanageable, and that was not capable of being saved at a certain point, so we'll have to try again as the lead starts to grow for G2. Don't want to let this game get away, as they will continue to try and get all the possible setups. Atomic with the most delayed reset, and yet, of course, OG respects it.
I appreciate the fact that not only does he get the reset, but he's probably about a full car length away and still is able to pre-flip into it with the perfect touch on the nose of his car. It's just so difficult. You expect G2 to play perfect, and honestly, they continue to. A single mistake against this team has not even been shown from OG. They're just stunting.
What is this from Beast Mode? Goes off the wall, pre-flips, and gets one tiny bit of the back of his car on that. That's, I don't even understand how you can do that. Beast Mode is on another level. In my opinion, I would say very much the best player in the world right now.
Well, we asked for a 4-0 to start off the series. I meant it the other way.
Yes.
We're getting scarily close to it happening, but just not in our favor. And honestly, G2, I don't know if there's much I can say to, oh my goodness, dissuade us from the reality that they are just dominating right now. Offense entirely in their favor. I don't know if I can think of a single shot that OG has had thus far. We can get something started here. In the air, JNaps trying to find a reception center, and it won't happen. The immediate counterattack, and just goes to show you, G2 do not like playing on defense. They are very much an offense-heavy team, and they have to play defense, they will, but they are so quick to get out of their half. It is so hard to fight against.
You know, one of the few teams that really does not have to defend multiple shots in a row. They usually give up one and maybe a second, but then they're immediately just diving on it, wins a 50, and then does something kind of like this. Beast Mode carrying all the way down, flick high, pass middle from Atomic into Daniel. Should have that first one. He has to knock it around that first G2 defender, and maybe getting a counterattack as JNaps. That should be wide open on the double, but he can't get above it quite enough.
That was the best chance by far, but you can honestly understand why neither of the OG players go to follow that one up. Okay, well maybe they should have followed them up, because they got scored on anyways.
That's tough one. Daniel with a flip reset, and then immediately goes into a second one. Then that's just a read and a half from Noli. He's trying to play it lightly. I think he's trying to maybe hit that one so light to the 50, kind of goes out to the corner, but he did not anticipate that there was an avenue to go above him and then directly into the goal. So, as I said, never going to be an easy job playing against G2, especially now that they have truly reached their peak potential. They're done with second places, first place team at the London Major a couple weeks back, so clearly they're in flow state, and I think game one is showing that this is no different.
Yeah, you know, no, chat's correct. They are just adjusting to the speed. This is all an adjustment game. You know, they weren't used to it because Incorrect played at, like, you know, half this speed. It's obvious that this is just a warm-up, right? Right? That's all it is. We got plenty of time here in this game. If we can score at least a goal, I believe we can find some resistance and some momentum.
Ugh.
Okay, wow, all right. I mean, how do you find momentum against that?
I don't know if you do. That's just a situation that's so unfortunate. Not only does Beast Mode have a perfect setup, but it's off of Atomic reading JNap's catch off the corner. So, yeah, not fun to witness. But again, this is G2 coming in just absolutely red hot. They are on fire. OG always starts fairly slow as a team, which is why I was pleasantly surprised to see them really tear apart Incorrect. But yeah, this is not necessarily a slow start as much as G2 is just untouchable right now. They are doing everything right, and this is where OG needs to absorb information as quickly as possible to move into game 2 with.
I made a tweet a while back after watching the Gentlemates versus BDS series at the last major, where I was like, you know what? I finally see the arguments as to why we should add an FF button to RLCS. And honestly, I'm starting to understand why we should do that here in game 1. As much as this is a good time for us to adjust to them, I do feel... Like, this is honestly a game that is more demoralizing than anything else. We're aware of how fast G2 play, but the issue is that if you keep letting the scoreline rack up, all it's going to make it do is make you get more into your head and more believe, wow, we were just getting outpaced. Because I don't think this team is going to outpace us like this the rest of the series. I think this is truly an adjustment game as much as I am meaning about it. But continuing to play through this one feels like a moot effort. With 70 seconds to go in an offense that has had maybe a handful of shots throughout this game, I don't know if there's much of a comeback trail to be blazed here.
And for anybody who keeps asking, why do pros play so much 2v2? Because everyone's trying to be G2. Everyone's trying to cut rotation constantly, be going for all these individual mechanical efforts, play all these clever passes to each other, and only so many people can actually ever hope to achieve that level of quality. But this is, I think, the aspiration, the ideal self that they're going towards. JNAP's trying to live up to his ideal self, but he's going to get bumped out of his ceiling shot. Com's follow-up is going to be met by beast mode, and poor Nolly does not have an angle, so he'll just try to fake, try to plow his way through. 2 on the near post, 2 on the near post again. Another 50 in a row saved away by G2.
I cannot explain to you how frustrating it is that the best shot we've had so far this game was basically almost an own goal because of the pool shot that would have shot them towards the net. Not necessarily the best way to generate offense here for OG, but at least they did generate some offense, and that's already a much better improvement from what we saw at the beginning of this series. I don't think it's going to result in a goal, though, with Noli on no boost and Com just trying to dive in afterwards. This one looking like it's going to hit the ground on their own half. G2 stride a 5-0 shutout victory to start off the series.
Yeah, G2 is actually otherworldly, and of course, it's such a cheat code when we first saw this team get developed. Say, wait, you got Beast Mode and Beast Mode and Daniel, and then also Atomic, which honestly I saw this dialogue start to emerge a little bit during London and in Reddit at times. But I think people forget that Atomic for a very long time was like an incredible like top 5 NA player. And I feel like now he's like, oh, he's the third to Beast Mode Daniel. I'm like, put some respect on Atomic. He was disgusting for a very long time on Envy and then obviously in G2 right after.
I feel like people seem to forget that this guy is a world championship runner-up, and on top of that, he's the one player they kept on G2. G2 had 3 of the most history players in all of RLCS, in JNAP Chicago and in Atomic, and they chose Atomic very deliberately for the way he plays, because I think one of the biggest things is that people, like you said, they look at Atomic and they go, oh, he's the hard third for this team. He was never a third man before this year. That was never his role. He was always a front man, a highly offensive monster. But that's also what works here. G2 don't have a third man. This is 3 players who all interchange positions fluidly and without a hesitation. So they're hard to beat. I don't think that necessarily means that OG can't do it. Game 2 officially underway here on Salty Shores. And look, I believe in this team. Let's see if they can start to come back here and now.
Yeah, I would also like to endorse Tordad's belief that I do think G2 is just simply the best team right now, obviously, out there in NA or in Worlds. But I think what also has to make it is I'm a big fan of Sathu. Arguably, I would say might go down as like the coach of all time based on how G2 is doing and also just his consistency at the top across different rosters. So lovely to see him be able to pop up, and he's very humble about it as well. He never takes anything for granted, and obviously G2 is starting to show it. I'm waiting for that one from OG because honestly, I've seen Torment at work in London. I was lucky enough to spectate some scrims, and they have a good system going in place. Just the problem is clicking into it, especially against these top teams, can be so difficult. Calm, first real attack, but Atomic does well to shut it down.
A lot more offense being generated right now for OG, though. The midfield presence doesn't seem to just kind of be fluttered out after a single attack here, and that's a nice change of pace. The only issue, though, is that they still get to get a real shot on target so far. G2, like we mentioned, they don't get tested on defense that often, but when they do, they stand up pretty impressively. This, though, an opportunity. Atomic got a little bit of smoke screen to fight through and numbers advantage in favor of OG. But that clear from Daniel goes well over Com's head, and unfortunately that, oh boy, is the end of the offense and almost a chance for G2. Creative play. Maybe let's not try it again.
Yeah, I don't really mind those pinches, but sometimes hitting the ball just in unexpected ways is one of the weirdest things to deal with when you're on offense, because you have to slow down and be like, wait, really? You went for that? And they have to kind of readjust. For pros, obviously, they're going to do that faster than anyone else, but still never going to be an easy task, as Beast Mode does a rare kind of flame out there, does not have any touch after that. So Noli taking his time, probably go looking for that back post or JNAPs, but ball finds his way to him anyway. Noli going along the backside, gets the boost steal, but doesn't bother Daniel much. Even with the side challenge, OG still just trying to chase down this read. Atomic, almost the first one to score, and it's on his own net.
Definitely the best chance we've seen all series, though. That's not a bad thing to have that one go wide. It just kind of shows we're getting more opportunities, and as long as one of those can hit the back of the net, that could be the thing that changes the, I'd say, entirety of this series, especially considering by this time last game, I think G2 were up 3-0. So it's very clear game one, as we said, was just a warm-up, and it's why I wanted that FF button. Not necessarily because, oh, you know, I think this is just kind of chalk. No, sometimes you just got to say this game is not winnable and move on to the next. Have a different strategy and start to play with it once you had that little bit of minute to cool down for both teams. This game, much different than the way we start off this series, but that doesn't mean we're out of the woodwork yet. Here comes G2, and with stealing boost and causing bumps, it's going to be a problem for our defense.
Yeah, Beast Mode will be able to hit that double immediate follow-up by G2. Not really going to work for anything. I don't know if they know. Noli has absolutely nothing in the tank, and Calm will join him in that, hand holding down the field. Daniel says, okay, enough of that. Boost steal from Noli, not going to do much, though, because G2 already escaped. Rare miss from Daniel, though. Might actually open the door. Noli has that beat. That's actually wide open off the ceiling. Maybe a pass, maybe a musty, maybe a double tap from Noli. What a banger to get our first lead.
And this is why we said he was the forefront of the offense throughout the last series, and he'll do the same thing here. My goodness, the control to just get that one barely above the net. That's too far out of reach for either Beast Mode or Atomic to dive, and it's too far out of net for Daniel to try and jump and pre-jump that one. He knows the double is coming through, and unfortunately, he can do nothing but watch it sail into his own net. G2 gonna face the Fury here for our first goal, and I will say this much. Sometimes that's not that great because G2 do very much have a poke the bear mentality. If you start to try and stunt against them, they'll stunt against you.
The worst part is that's just like their standard affair. People are like, wow, this guy hit a double flip reset. I'm like, bro, that's like free play for them. That's not a problem at all. So, yeah, not something you really want to see, but I would like to see a second goal, especially when Atomic taking his sweet time getting back to that one. I was wondering why he's so wide. That's a comms breakdown for goal number 2.
This is a little bit confusing. It's a great shot from midfield. Props to Calm, because this sneaks just barely under the bar, and I gotta wonder if Atomic thought that wasn't actually going to be on target. He had a full tank of boost, and he was going towards it. It definitely wasn't a better angle for Daniel, so I just have to assume that either Daniel said, hey, that's not going in, you can follow it up, or Atomic maybe called off Daniel and said, I got this one. Either way, like you said, communication breakdown going to give yet another goal here for OG. Oh, can they hold on to this 2-goal lead, though? This is a bit problematic. A lot of chaos in front of Ned, but I think the demo might have opened up enough space. Numbers down for G2, and once again, another opportunity left at the table.
Ooh, Calm, if he had just a little bit more in his tank, that probably could have been a third, but you're starting to see the demos from OG, not necessarily even on the player on the ball, but it's, again, off-ball demos, and that's a rare moment where you see demoing not helping out the offense. It's more so just to help out the defense. It relieves pressure. G2's waiting for the follow-up, and then suddenly has to realize that there's no one there. Noli's certainly here. He has showed up in a big way, and the mechanics starting to come through. G2 getting away with another one on that last save.
And they just bumped into each other as well. It's very clear it's G2. They had the communication, they had the flow in game one, but these demos, these bumps, this disruption play that OG is coming out with, starting to cause problems for them, both in communication and in just rotations across the field. Speaking of which, Calm finds a flat-footed defender, opens up the net, but no shot is found. With 20 seconds to go, though, I think this one's all about wrapped up. Barring a miracle for G2, this is a much improved game and a win for OG in the second.
And that was a really solid transition as well from Noli and JNAPS. Almost 50'd the ball into a direct shot. And I will say, yes, this is going to be a solid game from OG, potentially with a sweep, but no. Beast Mode has to speak up, and what do you know? It's going to come down to a kickoff.
And all of a sudden, we thought that G2 were completely out of this one. For any other team, I would say, yeah, this is not possible. G2 with 3 seconds to go and a kickoff that they can control. Let's hold our breaths for a second here, will we?
Well, I have to exhale eventually because I need to stay conscious for this to witness what's going to go down. There is the fake off the sidewall. Beast Mode has Atomic. He's already up. That pass is well behind him. And Calm will watch that one go all the way down. OG coming back by a narrow margin.
I'll take it. You know what? Good enough. I will absolutely take that one because not only are we able to hold on at the end there, but on top of that, still feels like this was the most efficient offense we have seen, most efficient defense we have seen, and honestly, it's the first time that we've been able to see G2 off kilter throughout this entire series. Again, game one felt unimpeded. Despite the fact that we had a handful of shots, it always felt like G2 were either prepared on defense or controlled the flow on offense. This game, that was not the case. As we mentioned, communication errors, rotation errors. G2 looked like they were put a little bit awkwardly into positions, and they didn't really know how to recover. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. I don't like that, though. G2, literally immediately, all three of them readied up onto the team. They're out for some revenge. This is the G2 we know, so Good luck to OG. Keep them slow. Keep them slowed down.
Yeah, let's keep in mind that G2 might have gotten swept within the major, but the grand final was a 4-1 against Falcons. So very much so a team that is fine with dropping a game because they know it's a long moment. Even if this is only best of 5, there's a chance for us to make an imprint here on OG, but you're going to have to stop Daniel, and that is a hard task, especially with Beast Mode helping him out in the backboard. JNaps, though, pickpockets it away, and Calm has a counter.
I do like this out of G2 to try and go for these more, these creative plays on the backboard here. But the only issue is, guys, that's not going to do anything if OG actually know how to play defense. And surprise, surprise, this team absolutely does. They don't need to go to the backboard if you're just going to keep on trying to put the ball there, because they recognize, all right, if it does go to the backboard, then we can pop up. But if you're going to continue to plant somebody there that is far too coordinated, it's far too calculated, and a good team's going to be able to read that one 2 ways to Sunday. So I like what I'm seeing here out of OG. I don't love this. This is a little bit awkward here on defense, but the pass out should have been intercepted by JNaps. Instead, Atomic, the one-man machine, is trying to get something started. Can't quite, but Daniel there to back him up in beast mode to keep the offense going.
Nice clear underneath. JNaps is going to go straight for that boost because he knows Daniel has to chase him anyway. Atomic shuts that down, his old teammate, but I don't know how much he has beyond that. Noli sniffs it out, tries to hit that in open space. Such good recovery from beast mode, as always. Daniel going to duck underneath that demo yet again. And G2, I will say they're hanging on, but they're really lacking in the boost department.
They really are. It feels like both teams, though, right now, it's very much a dump and chase mentality. Grab a full tank of boost, dive at it as aggressively as you can, and hope that maybe somebody can follow it up afterwards. Good example here is Beast Mode has to use all 100 to even get to the play, and there isn't really much of a follow-up from Atomic, who also had no boost. So really goes to show you, teams are not holding on to boost for very long. There's no boost starvation game happening. It's just everybody's diving at the ball so aggressively, trying to keep up with this pace of play that,
wow.
Well, there's the issue. Once you are a little bit flat-footed on defense, it's pretty hard to adjust.
Yeah, it's very clear Noli has absolutely nothing on that. That last flip is almost what takes him away from it, but I gotta say, the balls on this man for Beast Mode, shooting that back post across the defender. Logic would dictate the easiest shot would be going in a straight line to that near post, and I think he knew that. That's probably in a situation where it's kind of like a fake. They have to play your read, and unfortunately we are not going to be invulnerable to that. I would like us to be invulnerable to this one. Ooh. Atomic, please do not dish that one off the backboard, but well wide.
I gotta say, this is getting scarier and scarier here, because it does kind of feel like G2 aren't going for different shots right now. It just kind of feels like they're starting to find ways to connect a bit quicker. And that's a huge concern when you do have a team that is still trying to keep up with your pace of play. Like we mentioned, it's not as if OG would like to play at this speed. This is just what G2 do. They dictate the pace of play. They force you to play their play style. And if you dare to try and play even a little bit slower, that's enough time for them to stunt. And I don't know if they're going to stunt there. That's kind of a triple commit out of the team. Might be enough for Noli to get something going, though. One more touch left in Beast Mode. Quick to take away possession.
Classic Calm bump on the way back, going to make G2's life a little bit harder. Noli not anticipating that much power, but still gets a phenomenal catch. Now can he get the carry as well? Daniel has the carry off his own backboard. Obviously, one of the most terrifying players to see in the air. Double flip reset, save off the bar. Atomic trying to throw it across, but Noli has more than enough boost to throw that one back into the midfield.
I am starting to see a couple of people here being like, man, I'm kind of surprised how difficult this is with Beast Mode, continually diving and not making contact. That's not unintentional. This is very much the way that G2 play. They will send the first man, and it doesn't matter if they're able to get a touch. It's just about throwing the other team off guard. Good example there. Daniel was never going to get a touch on that ball. Well, what he does is force the player to the ceiling, force him to spike it down, and if you have a defense that is waiting for exactly that play, they can immediately counterattack. That's why there was an offense there for G2, and why they will rebuild one yet again. Atomic off the sidewall. Interesting pre-flip into it, but it works out, and same with the follow-up. Daniel there pinches it out center, pass down to Beast Mode, and he will not bite. Recognizes the touch from Noli to clear the lines, but more offense being generated here for the orange side.
It's a tough one as we're trying to clear that one off the corner. Noli recognizes the danger here as he just goes AFK after that pass. He knew that's more or less just a free shot for Atomic, but even worse, JNaps just could not quite reach.
I thought he had that one, to be honest, but again, now looking at that one, he's kind of having to rotate around Noli, who's already making the challenge in the corner. So awkward spacing, but this is exactly what G2 do. Same thing for the first goal. It was a perfect placement out of Beast Mode, and that's exactly what they're going to give you every time. You know where they're going to shoot it, and it makes that all the more frustrating because despite the fact that you know exactly where the shot's going, you also know you still can't stop it.
That's a 50.5 as Atomic and Calm are all out of boost. Noli isn't, though. He tries to get that one underneath. I don't know how Atomic continues to get these reads, but I'm sure G2 is thankful that he can. Casual, musty clear from Daniel, and we're back to the OG side.
Are you kidding me? Atomic, leave that ball alone. You have no need to be even diving for that one, and it still pays off. Beast Mode dropped down, Noli going to get in the way, but now he leaves this to Calm, who's getting chased from behind and also trying to find a way to clear the lines. They'll do that, but it's at the expense of pretty much all of their boost. Now Noli trying to rotate in is also getting bumped off the ball. And I gotta say, G2, they're proving that although the physicality of OG is starting to cause them problems, they can do the same thing to OG. If we want to have a, blow for blow type of game where everybody's just throwing haymakers, that isn't exactly a problem for G2.
JNAP's heavy cut forward, and he's going to play that fake around Daniel. JNAP's dancing through everybody, and what do you know? It's back within one with 15 ticks of the clock to go.
We love these last-second goals, honestly, for both sides, but really, I love this fake out of JNAP. So smart out of him to recognize that. G2 are just trying to desperately avoid any shots that could potentially get a goal. So that dive, well choreographed, and he knows it. And afterwards, the muscle through on the 50 just goes to show Tom and Noli aren't the only players on this team, but are they enough of a team player to be able to get one more goal here at the end of regulation? 10 seconds to go. Beast mode, fake out center, and the pop-up high. That goal is open, and it's in! 2 seconds to go, and the game is tied.
Abane 7337, comeback? No. How about we watch your filthy mouth when you come into this type of chat? That's a comeback from OG, but with 2 seconds to go, don't like to open my mouth too much. Overtime is on the horizon, but we have not reached it yet. Let's see how we handle this one as Atomic. We'll go on forward and purposely try to lose that to Daniel, but that is not going to be too dangerous. OG, are you feeling heroic? I would not want to lob that one up to beast mode, out of reach of Atomic, thankfully. And yes, we will be seeing extra innings.
That was honestly terrifying, because had that pass come off, there definitely would have at least been a shot. I don't know if it had been a goal. This could be a goal. Nolly looking for the double touch. Can't quite find it. But some offense being generated here for OG. The bump from Atomic, though, does not allow the cut from JNAPS, and a quick escape and a quick counter. Atomic trying to do the most. He almost just got around all 3 OG players, and the only reason he didn't is because the pass to himself was just a little bit wide.
JNAP's looking for that back post. Calm looking for the bump onto Daniel, and yet he's still able to escape it. And as well, throw that one all the way downfield off the post, and unfortunately, Atomic has it. OG leans too heavy into the offense, and the counter is too vicious.
And this is something we had talked about before. JNAP's the last one back, who was trying to stretch out for this one, and the initial challenge from Tom was almost on target. And again, this is what makes it so difficult with G2, is that you feel like you have to send the house. You literally have to send all 3 players in order to generate a goal. And the problem is that if you don't, look how quickly they can counterattack. G2 really are the jack of all trades. If they need to, they can counterattack. If they need to stun off the ceiling, they can do that. If they need passing plays, they can do that. And it's what makes them so hard to read. They're doing all of this at probably the fastest pace on the planet, so any adjustment they made, you've got about a quarter of a second to try and read it.
Yeah, and in situations like that where you see the open shot and you're thinking, I could probably get that, that's the temptation that is so hard to fight, because it does come with a significant risk. Because with most teams, yeah, you'll be able to counter. It's RLCS Pro. You're playing best teams in the world, best players in the world. But you still have to occasionally take a risk, and then you get bit like that, because even with Daniel going down the field with 10 boost, he can just throw that as hard as possible, and the counter's on. So OG got a little taken advantage of near the end there, but I do like the fight to be able to get those goals back, be able to get to OT. So as I mentioned, like, even though G2 has a significantly good record against us overall, the games are always pretty narrow as we get further and further in.
I mean, it's definitely not as if they just got completely, dusted in that game. Again, we go to an overtime. They're able to make the comeback happen. It's clear that OG have found a way to slow down this OG team, but we've also seen that out of many different instances of teams figuring out G2 for at least a handful of games, and then once G2 figures them out, good luck. That being said, I don't think we're necessarily at that point yet. It's not as if OG have figured out G2 completely. It's not as if G2 has figured out OG completely. It's why we still see some of those awkward plays, a bumper car scenario in front of net on repeat. Take advantage of that, OG. You still have a chance here. One more game to force it to 5, and I believe they can do it.
Well, a little copium for me to make me feel better. Apparently, according to Flimfeld, Genji is now losing to Shopify in their second straight series, in which that means they've only won 1 game across 2 best-of-5 so far in Summer League. So clearly, Shift is just turning everything kind of topsy-turvy.
You know what? I'm okay with this. Honestly, that's exactly what we wanted out of this league. It's why the best teams in North America are playing. It's why some of the, I'd say, middle teams are playing in North America as well. It creates these crazy results that you never quite know how to read. Somebody's got to read this one. Oh, and they're definitely not going to. My goodness, I take it back. Calm, able to barely get back in time. There's more work still to be done. Atomic popped up high. Where is Daniel? Will finally interject and only get a 50 against JNAPS. OG, I'm not sure how you survived the absolute tornado of shots that came after you, but sure, go ahead. Oh, maybe do it again. There's even more offense to be generated.
Atomic will be able to possess it somewhat into the side wall, and he has that little pocket of space. He'll use the musty pass middle that even Daniel was like, damn, bro, calm down. I can't reach that. I'm going to have to chase it, as we have now officially entered into a dangerous area with G2, a 2v2 match.
Okay, well, I like that it was 2v2. I didn't like how that started off, and I'll be honest, I don't necessarily love the fact that it is Beast Mode and Atomic that do this. Daniel, you know, probably technically a little bit more cohesive with his teammate, but as you can see, it's not as if Beast Mode's struggling, and neither is Atomic. There's the goal, and it'll break the Rule 1 as well as also the 0-0 streak.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Beast Mode knows exactly what he's doing here. He has backup. He's just going to play for that 50. That delay one as well completely throws off JNaps. I think he has an escape to the side. Beast Mode overplays his hand, but no. Beast Mode's always in control. Like I said, he is my vote for best player in the world right now, and I think you can show it. Every time he touches the ball, you have to respect it.
I feel like if anybody's arguing against Beast Mode being the best player in the world, they did not watch the last major. There's really not much of an argument to be made at this point, and well, you're going to see why if he was, I was going to say, muscling through pretty much everybody on the team there. He had a chance to, but instead it's actually now Atomic on the other end who has to play some defense. I need to play some more. Noli up the ceiling, drop down, and he will still do it. Somehow Atomic makes the first save and the second save, and Beast Mode can't make the third. There it is. I guess if Atomic's not back, there is no defense.
Love this improv from Calm. Touches it softly, then immediately challenges again. Even Daniel thought he was not going to be able to get to that quickly, but the whole time, JNaps complete confidence in his teammate, waiting for it to be able to put that into the open side, and now we have a 1-1 game, and that's what it's all about with G2. Just keep them close. Any team is beatable, but last thing you want to do is just start diving on in, giving away free chances, because they were always going to get buried.
Yeah, if you ever give up an opportunity in a series like this, you can guarantee either one of these two teams are going to pounce on it immediately. Whether that be turning into a goal or turning into an opportunity, you have a chance at both of them. A chance here for OG. Maybe get some offense going. However, quick transition out of Beast Mode. He's got no more boost in the tank, though, so JNaps, I'm in space in an air dribble, trying to get around one, look for the bump, and he still can. Atomic, I get it. We said that you know, are not traditionally the third man. It doesn't mean you need to prove that you can play the third man flawlessly.
Man, both these teams sending 2 players on every attack, just going for the bump, going for the assist, going for the last second deflection, and that one was almost working from G2. Is Beast Mode not going to be able to get his flipper set double tap again? He's already gotten one this series. Do not like to see another one. As Daniel will, I will say, escape to the midfield, but nice challenge from OG on the spacing. Maybe another shot. JNaps near post, not gonna be saved, and that's the OG lead.
I don't know if they're doing this intentionally, but Atomic's starting to struggle to find any sort of momentum on defense here. He's got no boost in the tank, and again, as the lone defender that seems to keep on popping up here, he's got to make the save, and he's not quite able to do so. I think we're starting to see a little bit of strategy being implemented from OG here. Bother Atomic in particular. While Beast Mode and Daniel have very much taken the forefront of the offense in this game, it doesn't mean that they've been able to hold on to that offense necessarily. And with Atomic being the entirety of the defense so far, oh my goodness, they have got to be careful.
Did Daniel get bumped or did he just speed flip? I couldn't see it. It looked like Beast Mode and him collided at the same time. I thought that was going to be another clunker of a goal, but I don't think we can get that lucky when you're playing best team in the world right now. So instead, we'll just have to accept that that attack is over, and now got to get back on defense. Beast Mode getting a beat over the top by JNaps, but the defense is this time back.
You got to be careful here, though. I don't necessarily love OG just full on sending it out of the out of their defense immediately, especially considering now look at the retreat. They're in a shambolic way as all of the players are looking for boost, looking for some sort of challenge, and I guess looking for free space. I don't understand how Calm got the entirety of the sidewall to himself, but it pays off. G2, usually you would see them there almost immediately. Usually they would be prepared for this, but I guess OG just starting to catch him off guard.
Yeah, G2's playing way too predictably on this one. Beast Mode's trying to chase, but Anoli also understands Atomic can't challenge it. He has to fake challenge. The only way to fake challenge is by driving away from the goal. So why not just thread the needle, throw it between the 2 players, one with no boost and one with no chance.
I'll take that every day of the week here. That's what we want to see out of this OG team, is finally finding a way to throw G2 off guard, something that pretty much no teams have been able to say, not at least for the last couple of months here, as G2 have been able to have a read on every team they play, but this OG team, they're scrappy and they're changing things up. That's the biggest thing for me, is that physicality was very much on point at the beginning of the series. Now it's passing plays like this in quick transitions that are causing problems. They keep on leaving the third man isolated at the back. OG are going to keep taking advantage with these long balls downfield and these immediate shots.
Really trying to get that quick flick, but that catch took an extra half second. Not going to hurt, though, because he's going to get the goal. JNaps might shake his head at it, but I don't think he'll care to get the assist.
I mean, again, it's another quick transition, and I do want to credit that, but it also kind of feels like they should at least have had enough time to get another player back besides Daniel, or maybe Beast Mode just had full faith in Daniel. He sees him challenging after the Atomic 50 and goes, yeah, that should be fine. I don't need to rush. And then by the time that he recognizes, oh, maybe he should have, it's already in their net. Look, I'm not going to guarantee it at this point, but it's looking like we got a Game 5 on the horizon after a game where G2 really just kind of had us red to start this series. Yeah, that ain't the case no more. Calm might have put that off target, but it goes to show we're getting so many opportunities on repeat right now.
Daniel sets that one up for Atomic, and yeah, you're only going to get so many chances with G2 before they eventually put one through, and I like the more passive build-up here from Daniel. He knows that people are going to be playing that 50. You have to respect his ability on that one, and even fortunate for him, Atomic trusted that that was going to be completely unimpeded on his way through. Still got to tighten up OG, 2 goals. Really not that close of or far of a gap to be able to close for a team like G2.
I do kind of feel like G2, though, might be using this game as, all right, let's figure out how they're beating us like this. Yeah, pre-jumps like that make me think that they truly are using this as a, oh, no. Okay, well, I think they were using this as a learning experience to get ready for Game 5. Then we saw a couple weird misses in a row out of OG, and they went, maybe we can get this done.
What a pass by Daniel to be able to get that one. He deflects that one across exactly where he knows beast mode is. People might be like, it's a missed shot, but honestly, the pass makes a lot more sense there. He knows all of OG is going to be back on the goal line. They're driving backwards. They can't really advance forward. And so now OG will try their own fake kickoff, but that very nearly backfired. Fortunately, JNAP's fastest man alive, able to beat that next clear on out. So Noli needs one more clear, and that should just about do it, so long as we play for the time. Calm certainly will. Pure possession air dribble as he's baiting in the 50. G2 got to go coast to coast.
We got a chance here, though, with Daniel on, never mind, not enough boost. This might actually still stay up, though, before it hits 0 seconds. Atomic trying to get around Calm. The immediate challenge puts this to the sky, but beast mode is there to keep it up. JNAP's going to try to spike this down, but he's got an approaching Daniel to contend with, and an Atomic who's keeping this alive. Spike down, not going to happen. Beast mode with space. And Calm to shut it down again. Noli looking for the bump. He will get it, and he guarantees a Game 5. And my goodness, I thought for a second we were guaranteed it, but the end of that game got a little too close.
I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, no shot. Noli's going to let him be able to get away with that aerial, so just immediately dive bombs him, gets the bump, and a nice Game 5. And something you don't often see in a game against G2. G2 Stride getting outshot by the collective of OG.
I did not expect that. And honestly, on top of that, I really didn't expect the multiple saves that we see here as well. 8 total shots out of G2, 3 goals out of that, meaning we should have 5 saves. And oh my gosh, we have 5 saves. So it goes to show you, G2, despite the fact that they are generating offense still, it feels like a much more prepared OG. In comparison to the beginning of the series where, well, I mean, you guys saw what happened there. It's shot after shot. It's an OG who struggled to even find a way to slow this team down. They've done this now. And honestly, every other time I would say Game 5 is probably still in favor of G2. This might be the first time in a hot moment I'm saying this is a coin flip who one takes this one.
This could be a significant moment in the OG history, trying to take down a major champion. League play be damned, it's still important. One of the 2 meetings that we will have against G2 Stride in the Shift Summer League. It's only going to come down here to his final 5 minutes. G2 certainly not used to dropping any games. Now we'll have to see if we can drop even more on top of them. JNAP's quick turn, but Beast Mode even that much faster.
Uh-oh, Beast Mode might have an extra touch, or they don't need it. Faking out everybody are both Atomic and Beast Mode. It almost worked out, and it probably would have been the funniest goal so far this series, but ain't nothing funny about G2 getting an early offense here. Good beat out by Noli, but he's got no boost to contend with, so Daniel, try again. JNAPs, I like the attempt at the early jump. It might have left his 2 teammates, though, in an awkward position as Daniel muscles through everybody except for the last defender.
That's demo, though, and that's plenty of boost for Noli. Setting up a reset. No, he's going to fake it and tap it over the top. Atomic was there just in case. And Beast Mode not going to take any chances. Just a heavy hit downfield, which he will actually get some vengeance for. Now Atomic looking for that back post way too far away.
To work with, but opts to boom this downfield, maybe to buy time for his teammates to get some boost instead. It'll work out as JNAPs is able to get the midfield and only able to get the back corner, but it still puts them in a defensive position here, and with demos causing some problems, that's not too easy a position to try and fight back from. In the corner, Calm looking for his entrance, will pinch it to the ceiling. I have to imagine, yup, a G2 player prepared for it, rips on a shot, nobody home, and Beast Mode, the first goal of the series.
OG's spread out way too wide on this one. JNAP's going for a boost. Calm getting bullied by Atomic, and unfortunately Noli had to jump for that one as well. A little bit of a double commit, and of course, G2 going to pounce on it after just about 90 seconds.
That's not exactly what we wanted to see here. I was hoping we get a little bit of a stronger start, but this is the G2 that we know, and I guess not love if you are an OG fan. I love this as long as it goes in. Indeed it does. Calm, the immediate response.
Man, G2 is so fast on the recovery that honestly, after JNAP's got this demo, I'm like, you sure you don't want to just finish that yourself, buddy? Maybe not wait for help? But no, it was, in fact, wide open. So physical play from someone who's not Calm, always welcome. In from OG, definitely some menaces when it comes to that one. And as I said, yeah, it only took just about 5 seconds for us to be able to get equalized, and maybe get another one off kickoff. Calm faking underneath. He's trying to flick Beast Mode, but it's not going to work this time.
I do like what we're seeing right now, though. I feel like we're baiting out challenges out of G2, and I think something that chat's kind of gone back and forth with this on whether they love the double commits that G2's coming out with or they hate the double commits that G2's coming out with. The one thing I will say is that this is built into their playstyle. G2 are probably one of the most double commit heavy teams on the planet, but it's very intentional. The first player doesn't make a touch, they can at least predict where it's bounced out after. The issue is, if the other team's predicting it before your team can, you get scored on.
Yeah, and this time, when you do send 2, it can be helpful because you're right next to the ball. When no one's there, that 50 is going to be on a tee for JNAPs to pull out the driver, be able to slam into the back of the net there. That is going to be another quick answer here from OG. And as Chad has said, this series started off with like kind of snoozer, slowly turned it into a banger, and maybe could have gotten a little bit wider on the margin if Noli maybe had a better jump on that.
I don't want chat to necessarily think this one's done and dusted, though. With over half the game to go and a G2 who very much are not going to take this one sitting down. There's a lot of offense left to be generated. Might even be able to get a goal here. They're not able to get it, but they are able to expend the entirety of the tanks out of OG, which means now they're looking for an escape just to try and recover from. Atomic, not exactly going to give them that, but the over-aggressive demo there out of Daniel I don't think was necessary, or excuse me, I think it was beast mode. We'll get a couple more, but what could have been an extension to the offense may still actually pay off. Excuse me, Noli?
Noli getting pushed around and still shoves back, gets that save away. And I mean, I've watched OG too many times to be surprised, but it still makes my eyebrows raise whenever we pull off those goal line saves. Incredible clutch defending in that moment with so much on the line. Now can Calm do it again. Daniel with a catch, with a reset, back post, and this time we will not be able to put a hand up.
Watch when Daniel goes up for this one. It pops up and he is immediately to it, and my goodness, this catch is undeniably perfect.
Gross.
There's no other way he gets that one out center except for getting into the reset and immediately shooting on, and unfortunately for OG, by the time they recognize he has the reset, it's already shot on target. 2 minutes to go. We could be lining up for another overtime, or Atomic could try and give his team the lead yet again. Daniel off the backboard. Where is beast mode? Right on in.
Yeah, off the kickoff, but again, that's exactly what you need to do off kickoff. Send it high. Next player comes up, beats that one defender, and that's why you need someone going back to the goal. Fortunately, too much trust in OG, trying to say that we can get the boost first and then defend second, but you really need to make sure that goal line is secure. G2 with a flawless team play right off the kickoff, and this game is swinging back and forth violently.
Continues to, and part of the reason why is that OG know that G2 are going to send all 3 of their men on every single one of these plays. The issue is that they're kind of waiting for ways to try and counter that. Are you kidding me? Counter that play style. We'll go back to that statement in a moment here. I got to give credit. How does Beast Mode get this final touch?
Well, the problem is JNAPS does not know if he has that reset, if he has that extension, so he's trying to play above it, and then when it doesn't come in, he's able to get that such a powerful touch on absolutely no boost floating ball. And from bad to worse, OG now in a bit of a deficit to work out of beast mode. I would pray that you do not add to it, but even with 0 boost, he's terrifying. Atomic over the top. Calm able to combine with Noli, and we will be able to escape.
I'm still reeling from the pogo pass that we just got out of Beast Mode. That's genuinely absurd that he's able to get that. Oh, don't keep stunting Beast Mode. You can slow down for a second, brother. I promise you. It's okay. If you want to give us a goal back, I wouldn't mind it. I don't think OG would mind it, and maybe your team would, but you guys still have an extra goal lead. 70 seconds to go. The 2-goal buffer here, huge for a G2 that, as you said, it's been swinging back and forth. Even if OG get a goal here, they still have a little bit of work left to be done, and they're not going to get it all too easily. Noli blocked on the follow-up as JNAPS is denied on the backboard.
Atomic gets the save and then immediately dive bombs down. One of the hardest saves in the game, in my opinion, because gravity is accelerating you. It's very hard to time that properly. And it's very hard to time this one as well. Noli with a flip reset into the top corner. Daniel knocking that one away in beast mode. Able to gather this one. That should be a pretty clean carry back to mid.
And you guys are starting to remember, as well as I am, why the G2 team is the best on the planet. They are so resilient in their ability to just jump at the ball at any moment and immediately make what I would say is a good challenge every time. Makes it so difficult. A couple of weird challenges in a row, and a demo could open up some space, though. OG still got a chance, and I think Nolly backflipped intentionally on that one. He did not have enough boost to get up to that one, and instead went for a defense, but man, huge opportunity, and that might seal the deal. 10 to go, and OG just looking for 1 to even get back.
Noli no boost to extend, dive in, has to happen, and that is gonna do it. So unfortunately the record gonna continue to add another W in the column for G2, but a game 5, at least for differential, going to be something to come away with it. A silver lining, but the gold medal going to G2 Stride.
Well, I want to make sure of something real quick before I continue to say this. So I was about to say, that's, it's a rough loss. I will give it that 1,000%, but I think it could be a little bit rougher if I'm not mistaken. No, they did clutch it up. All right. I thought that we had just seen SSG take their second loss in a row to Incorrect. Instead, it's actually Dignitas after taking a loss out, or taking a win against Fun or Gen G, whoever it was. They've now lost to RMC and Redo's Magic Cheese. So, man, results are all over the place right now. Everybody who's supposed to be cleaning up is just not cleaning up. And meanwhile, OG's out here going, yeah, we'll clean up the first people. Oh, you expect us to just get wiped by G2?
Yes.
Nah, we got other plans.
Yes, and that's why whenever everyone says, like, well, OG, when they've gone to the majors, they haven't been able to make it through Swiss, and that's a tough thing, and, like, is this team actually elite? And I feel like I watched that series, and I'm like, yes, like, they can play against G2. They can take them to Game 5. They can keep them on edge. Like, I know how good this team can be. So it's definitely one of those things where it's always encouraging to see those types of results. But yes, unfortunately, will be a loss. So as we kind of pivot on over to see how things are looking on the rest of the table for league play. Obviously, G2 going ahead with the 2-0 in first place. And Redo's Magic Cheese, the old LG squad, as you mentioned, getting that 2-0 victory. They're +3. Fortunately, we will be joining everybody else in the 1-1 section that dominates the midsection of the table.
And I think it's probably only going to get extended from here on out as well. If you believe that it's only going to be a handful of teams that are going to hit this middle of the pack and we're going to have, a decent amount of them that are either undefeated or just getting clapped through, you're sorely mistaken. This is very much a league where everybody comes into this one relatively even, and this is what people love about league play, is that if you know who you're playing for the week, you can study them up. You can figure out how to beat them, how to play against them, and you can really review the tape. And I'm hoping that teams are going to be doing that throughout this entire event because, man, Shift League has really given us something special. They've given a lot of opportunities for teams to, as I've mentioned multiple times on broadcast, show themselves before we go into a proper offseason. So I'm loving the results we're seeing so far. Would have loved if we had closed out that victory and taken a win against G2 because I will say, despite the upsets we've had today, OG taking a win over G2 would have sent way more shivers down the spines through the rest of NA than any other result.
Yes, indeed. And to answer the questions I'm starting to see pop up in the YouTube, but also from Twitch, just to make sure we keep everyone current. This is the Shift Summer League. It's run by Shift, one of the kind of the news-breaking organizations within Twitter that has been able to cover a lot of like transfer news and just RLCS news in general. And their parent company was like, hey, we should keep the offseason alive. It's a $20,000 league play for both NA and then $20,000 for EU. Obviously, OG, being an NA team, is in NA. This is a multi-week league play. Tuesday and Wednesday, there's going to be 3 best-of-5s for each team, so 6 matches per team per week for the next 3 weeks. So 18 in total across all these different teams. So a lot going on for the rest of the month and going into early August. So this is just our very first day of the 6 league plays that we're going to be league play days that we're going to be seeing. Shift has its own channel. I believe it is Shift GG or Shift RLE on Twitch. They'll be doing the main broadcast, which I think actually we will be on for next round. You guys can watch right here, but also you can watch SSG versus OG as we close out first day.
I'm very excited to see that one here, but I definitely do think there's still a little bit more, that we could see throughout the weeks here. As much as day 1 is going to be an interesting preview with us versus SSG and us versus G2, give it some time. We've got a lot of league play left to play through here, so I hope you guys are in it for the long haul. I also hope that Gen G's in it for the long haul, because, my goodness, this is the worst first day they could have possibly had.
Yeah, the fact that we actually might be seeing that, because it is LG, which, granted, did not have the best split, but right now, seems like they're getting wins. I mean, if Dig can beat Gen G 3-0, and then Redo's squad can drop Dig in Game 5, then there is a very real chance that we see one of the best talent teams on paper go 0-3 to start off a league play. Well, that would be psychotic.
I'm going to back that even further. I think there's something we both kind of forgot. Remember, SR is playing with memory. They just lost to Shopify Rebellion with memory.
Right. Yes, that is a tough thing. Well, Incorrect Terror, by the way, owner and operator of the Incorrect Esports, commented into the chat. Hello, how you doing, sir? Good job to be able to go to Game 5. Close one against SSG. You guys getting in good reps. And to answer Tordad's question, yes, Shift is very much making us wait until the top of the hour for all the matches. I think it's just for scheduling ease so that every match starts at the exact same time. But also, like, why not just ping everybody in a server and be like, hey, guys, we're going to start? Because it's just like, yeah, we're just going to be chilling for a little bit. Just a little bit, just soaking stuff in.
Yeah, we're just kind of we're kind of vibing for right now. Although to be fair, that's most of what's happening in the league right now. Do we have any other results we're waiting for before the top of the hour?
No, that's the thing. Is everybody is
wow,
done.
okay.
Poab 3-1 over Fun. Dignitas 2-3 loss against RMC. SSG 3-2 over Incorrect. We have SR, we have Gen G, and obviously we just concluded G2 and OG. We were probably one of the final games to get around that, but other than that, yeah, it's a tough time. I would say going into round 3 should be fun to see, but in a way, I kind of like the idea of these players getting like 10 to 15 minutes after every series to like digest things and somewhat go back and talk like, oh, well, okay, we can kind of think through things, maybe do a replay analysis. I know OG did that all the time in London, and I'm sure other teams do that as well. Download some replays, look them through, just kind of talk through stuff before the next series, and then they can focus up and get into it.
Yeah, I hope they're doing some review here. And to be honest, I hope that they're also keeping the confidence high, because after a series like that versus G2, there's really no reason for them to not believe themselves at all. As good as SSG is, reminder, SSG has lost the fun today, and they barely beat out Incorrect, who we beat today 3-1. So theoretically, literally everything is in our favor, but again, this is why lean play is so interesting. Even with everything and all the stats in our favor, SSG have probably been waiting for this matchup for a hot moment. They're not going to come into the series versus us unprepared.
And I would say overall, I'm not entirely sure what it's going to take for a lot of these teams to kind of kick into action. If SR is also taking dubs in general, or actually playing somewhat respectable with Memory, then shout out to Memory. I mean, it's not that long ago that he literally just tuned in here. But McGree's, you're here to hear me fill in the 10 minutes between matches. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to want to fill that much. So I think we'll probably take a little bit of a break just to be able to step away, be able to rest the voice a little bit, because, yeah, we do have to wait at least until lobby got made. I think test lobby actually went up on the hour, so, yeah, we have at least, like, a good 90 minutes. Oh, Seb wants the walk at the duck thing. Guys, I made a whole starting BRB screen, and now you guys just want the duck? Is that all you want? Is that all I am to you guys? Just the duck?
You're not gonna get an argument out of me. I literally found that GIF with you at like 4 a.m. on like a Tuesday, so I'm here to support the duck.
Yeah, that was a wild time. I'm not gonna lie. Wow, everyone wants the duck. Okay, well, you can get the emote spam. Fine.
Bass Cat, what?
Or Bass Cat. I mean, oh, just a camera. That's it. Yeah, Bass demands the camp here. We'll go back to see Bass. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cats never meow when you want them to. I wish you could just be like, speak. Just, it's okay. Do the roar. But yeah, otherwise than that, I mean, it's been a fun time for Shift Summer League so far. I'm interested on how much further we can actually go into these games before things start to, let's say, normalize. If people talk about their expectations, because there's definitely a lot of moments where people are probably looking at these games being like, well, eventually, like, the top teams are going to stand out. And it's like, well, I guess we'll see. But anything can happen, and that's exactly why top-level Rocket League is entertaining in the end of the day.
Indeed. I love this. Also, chat, this is Bella. This one's Bella, which I know. You also have a cat named Bella, right? But it's not the black cat. It's the other one.
Yes. So we have Luna, who is my black cat, and that is his black cat, which is named Bella. But my other cat is named Bella, so it's very confusing. It is all over the place in that case. But either way, yes, we will be back in a little bit. Unfortunately, we can't have cats to fill a full 8 minutes of time. Some people might argue with that, but we'll be back on the hour with some more games, as I think OG are just trying to get into a match to warm up. I guess we'll find out in a little bit as we'll have some more coming up in just a bit. So enjoy the Duckman, I believe. I think I found this in time. Yes, enjoy some Emerald Duckman as we will ready up for the next series. And we don't have to wait that long because apparently as soon as I went to BRB, we got the Tesla. I don't like what's going on there, Bass. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a...
Freaking you out? Good. That's the intention. I'm trying to intimidate Space Station. I want them to see this.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, this is something that is worthy of intimidation. Yes, we are going to be playing against Space Station Gaming. They are our opponents for this next round, and it is going to be our final game of today for the OG Team Stream and also for Shift Summer League coming into this one because this is also on the Shift channel. So they knew this was like the premier matchup they wanted to have to end out the day.
Yeah, I do agree with it, though, being the premier matchup at this point. I feel like this is kind of the old guard versus the new guard. OG's been good all year. We knew that this team was going to be good, and they've kind of proven themselves on a multiple of iterations. Versus an SSG, who are very good, but you got to remind everybody, they missed out on the first major. So this has kind of been a comeback trail for them more than anything else. And despite putting up extremely impressive results at the last major, it's still one of these things where they're still kind of having to prove themselves. Despite good results, they have fallen against OG, they've fallen against Gen G, they've fallen against G2. All of the other teams that have gone to World, they have taken some weird losses against throughout the season. So I hope that they can give us a competitive game here today. I do not think that they are going to play poorly, but as we've mentioned, this has not exactly been the smoothest of sailing for SSG thus far.
No, SSG has been also struggling, like really a lot of teams. Just as a quick reminder, as we're still waiting for everything to kick into it. We do have a little bit of the results that have come through so far within the Shift Summer League. So we do have SSG getting their second win, but yeah, going to Game 5 against Incorrect, which respectively we did go to Game 4 against in Round 1.
Yeah.
But, just scraping out that victory, and we look at the stats, it had to go to OT 2 minutes into Game 5 to be able to actually decide that one.
And on top of that, again, I still don't even think that's the most damning result that we have on here. It's the loss to Fun by far. Fun is not a bad team. It is T. Corell, Talk, and Nitrous, who, as we mentioned before, Talk is probably the most up-and-coming player in North America at the moment. But even at that, you're SSG. You're a Worlds team. You should not be losing to them. And losing to them and then going to Game 5 against Incorrect goes to show it's not as if it's just a one-off. They're having an off day. And if they have enough of an off day, this could be OG taking yet another victory against this team.
And going up against kind of the rest of NA is nice, but also this is a kind of, in my opinion, the OG LG is like the true derby matchup. It's kind of like the rivalry that's been formed. SSG and OG is very much something that has been kind of like creeping up there as we look at the head-to-head. By the way, great feature on Wikipedia. Glad that they were able to program that stuff in. You look at the head-to-head results for SSG and OG, and right now we are even 2-2. Game wins 10-10. SSG just edging out a little bit, 46-40 goals. So like this could not be any closer of a type of rivalry between two teams in NA.
And it's crazy that it's literally once per qualifier as well. It's not as if these are all like old results. It is literally qualifier number 3, the final one of the front half of the year, and then 4, 5, 6. They hit each other once per matchup. And the crazy thing, I think, more than anything, though, is that the final time these two teams met, it was OG. And I remember that match. People were pretty surprised because at that point, everybody kind of thought that SSG had gotten over the hump. They're no longer losing to teams outside of Gen G and G2. They got everybody else figured out. And then they lost to OG, and all of a sudden people went, okay, maybe SSG isn't as figured out as we once thought they would be. The vulnerability has even continued to today. Again, the losses they have taken today, or I guess the loss they've taken today, isn't really excusable. So this is going to be something, man. I don't really know what to say about this one besides if SSG does not show up to the degree at which OG has shown up here today, we gonna clap them.
Yeah, and so SSG definitely a lot to prove, but they will also be able to do so on the main broadcast as well. So shout out to twitch.tv/shiftrla, or you can just keep it right here because Corellian Spaceman smell, and who likes them anyway. So you can hear us instead cast the OG series because we're into it. The test lobby is all over. We can get into it. One more best of 5 again for OG and Space Station. Two teams now that are 1-1 in league play, trying to make sure that we can actually march on through into the day number 2 for Wednesday with our heads held high with a W. And after the G2, I feel like that's the best possible warm-up going into this one.
I mean, look, start off the season as best you can, especially considering the fact that there's not as much pressure right now. This is how league play inevitably ends up going, is that the first couple of weeks, you're taking weird losses, taking weird wins, somewhere in between, but that's because the pressure isn't on. Then you get towards the end of the season and you start to see a path. You go, okay, we need at least blank record in order to make it into playoffs. And when that starts to come into play, that's where the nerves start to set in. That's where the pressure gets in, and that's where the series mean a whole lot more. So for an SSG and OG, who probably are both expected to make playoffs right now, the pressure isn't exactly on. But if either one of these teams can recognize the scenario and go, ooh, this might be a valuable win we'll need later down the line, be the motivation they need. And I'm hoping it's OG who recognizes that scenario and the motivation necessary here. Because, look, How many times are we going to say SSG are having an off day? That's not a common thing. Take advantage while it happens.
I mean, SSG, Sad Junior has done wonders with that team. Not necessarily that they were like in the doldrums, but like obviously I think Split 1, they got really screwed over by having Gen.G be on fire and always drawing them in the quarterfinals. But then past that, like the team has looked really good. They're a team that I don't think many people would highlight as like, oh, this is one of the best teams out there in terms of sheer talent. They're just a team that has a system that really works. It's unique to them. And of course, LJ is a candidate for, I would say, NA MVP, if not for the existence of Beast Mode. So definitely a good candidacy. He's might be able to keep it going, but either way, we don't have to keep up our vamping. We can just get right into it. We're finally ready for the final match of League play for day 1 of the Shift Summer League. OG, SSG, one more time.
I'm so ready to see how this one starts out. I think that's kind of the biggest thing about this is I want to know if we do see the SSG of the previous 2 series, where they look vulnerable, they're not quite to the same degree as their opponents, or if we do see an SSG that all of a sudden locks in and recognizes, hey, we can't afford to lose to OG at this point. We've already taken a weird loss today. We did not look impressive in our last series. We need to be on point. I almost kind of hope we do get that version of them, because I will say, when push comes to shove, that's when OG look their best. When they're forced to play well, they truly do shine.
That's one thing that I think OG fans will know acutely, is that when everything is on the line, it's a team that shows up more often than it doesn't. Issue is at majors, just trying to be able to transfer that quality, as we had talked about earlier in the day, from domestic into international competition. And right now, at least, if you can continue to flex or dominate in the domestic sense, then it's all better for it. But SSG putting up a strong front, at least in the first minute.
Plenty of time here for either one of these teams to start trying to figure out, a strategy. Been one for OG there. I do think that this physical strategy that they had against G2 is a good idea. The only thing I don't want them to do is necessarily outpace themselves. As we mentioned, we kind of got forced into that super fast playstyle because of G2. I don't think it's necessary against SSG. SSG are not the same sort of overwhelming offensive playstyle, much more cohesive. I'd say almost even more similar. Oh my goodness! To OG. Ain't nothing similar about that, though. Very few players are even going to get close to that shot, and Noli, my goodness, you almost started us off with a whirly.
Noli might take offense to this, but I genuinely feel like when he joined this team, and the main critique of his squad was that he's playing with a bunch of third men, or maybe second men or something, that you're going to have to be on your mechanics arc. He has been on that. He's looked phenomenal. Chicago might want that one back. Not necessarily a mechanics issue there, just pure read gone wrong.
Was that intentional pun, or is that just like a circumstantial one? Because honestly, I like that, the read from read. It's not working out thus far, though, for an SSG who I think have had the majority of the better looks here in this game. They still haven't really been able to put on what I would say is a threatening shot. They can open up some space here. LJ, though, no boost in the tank, so flick up high, hoping to get to Hawkster, is intercepted by JNaps. That, though, no second touch from JNaps means Calm has to also play some defense. Midfield starting to get a bit contentious here as the 2 teams battle back and forth, and this is going to be a significant difference from the G2 series. The G2 series was end-to-end. They expect a lot more midfield presence from both teams in this series.
Noli going to go for that catch. He does get that off. Problem is he doesn't have a flick past a second player, so JNaps have to scrape this one, avoid LJ, which he mostly does. The nice little dance past one, now former teammate again. And it's just so weird to live in a world in which Atomic, Chicago, and JNaps are all playing each other, all on different teams, and yet they're still at the very top of the region.
I mean, it just kind of goes to show you, for a long time, people were like, oh, the G2 team's not that good. They're hard carried by blank. Okay. The SSG might be getting hard carried by Chicago, and I guess this kind of furthers the point that we're making.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That roll is the worst possible. It doesn't bounce out, doesn't bounce up. It just rolls directly out into the middle. And with a demo, of course, never going to be something that's going to be too difficult for SSG to convert. Also, one thing to keep in mind, Calm, well known for demos. Chicago, also very well known for the physical play.
Yeah, this is both teams definitely know how to play physically, but I don't necessarily know if it's going to be to the advantage of one team or the other. This is to the advantage, oh my goodness, of SSG, if not for the save out of JNaps. Solid defense being shown yet again. Even if they're not playing G2, they can still stand up to the test and get some goals for themselves. This one on the line. JNaps delays the shot. Brilliantly slots into the bottom right.
Man is looking like a monk out there with all that patience. He has so little time to get to this, but he also realizes he has all the time that he needs. Chicago's flailing, LJ flailing, and just say, all right, it's fine. Put that in the back post, and easy as you like, OG back to a level scoreline.
It was a good play out of OG, but I definitely do feel as if it's a little too volatile for me to say that they have figured out this defense and offense against SSG right now. Definitely feels like a warm-up period, or at least an adjustment period, if you will, because As we mentioned, that G2 team really got to us. We played so fast, so aggressive in that series, and now having to take a step back and readjust has made this difficult for us to find a decent amount of chances on offense. There's one. Calm, open net, can't quite get to it, but Noli there for the follow-up. He puts it high. Chicago trying to get in the way. Everybody trying to get in the way, and somehow that's still not a goal.
I think Noli went for the dish on the triple tap, and instead of just leaving it for JNaps, that might come back to bite us, because that was very much so going in. But I will say, you don't give up on a ball for a reason. And Chicago will get that goal line save, and now he's going to help out the offense. Heavy bit of a touch, though, and Chicago is going to lose it out to Com.
Boxer. Oh, I was going to say time and space out of midfield, but he's immediately attacked, and actually not to the benefit of OG, because now, oh my goodness, quick 1-2-3 passes almost result in a goal. They do at least result in a shot. Now a chance for OG the other way, though. Calm, an immediate challenge. Spike on down, leads its way into Hoxer's hands, who's challenged by JNaps. Only will eventually dive in, and he's the third man fully committing, meaning Calm has to scramble back. He's bumped off the play. The defense now scrambling to just get any sort of defense at all. They will find it. Never mind, I'm taking back what I said before, Taco. I thought there'd be some more midfield presence. Instead, it's the same sort of end-to-end play that we saw against G2.
A lot of it is going through the middle, but really just as the transition point, because it is just very much living on the attacking third. SSG has given one up the worst possible bounce. Com can't read it. It was wide open. And SSG going to be saved by the post. They're not even going to get something to say goodbye to regulation with into OT for game one.
My jaw is on the floor right now. I can't really blame Com on that one. He's thinking that's going to ricochet off the inside post and straight back out center. Instead, it somehow goes to the outside. See if he can redeem himself here. No, instead, he actually fakes the challenge just to keep possession. Reset in the bag. What can you do with it, Com? You can only muscle through a 50, but nothing further. Chicago, the backup, will send it to the back wall. JNaps is waiting. Got a full tank, but can he actually get to the ball? Absolutely, if Calm clears the airspace for him. Shot, though, immediate challenge out of Chicago, and honestly, I don't blame him. They've seen that strategy far too many times. They know OG is going to send the lead blocker, and they're not going to fall for it again.
So well done by Chicago to be able to cut that one out. That was very much so a lopsided attack in terms of the support he had available, but he just trusted his read, and that's that veteran instinct. It's going to kick in and keep Space Station always competitive. LJ trying to show his edge on that double tap, and yet not going to work out. Com will send that all the way down for the pin. Chicago, kind of a loose touch in the middle, but it's by design up until Noli has an open shot. Chicago uses the last of his boost to get that clear.
To the backboard. Boxer there to take the shot, but only to get in the way to deflect it, but they're using a lot of boost in order to do so, meaning no one's prepared to get up for LJ. They can at least make the save, and nothing further. Desperation clear here out of Com, and he's, I'm thinking, going to look for the bump afterwards. He actually gets a better 50 than a bump, and it's going to lead to more offense for OG. Noli swings through. Bump will give him some space, but Hawkser to at least approach and make it difficult. But everything difficult right now for SSG, if not for that miss. They had him on the ropes. The boost total was basically none, but SSG might have just found a lifeline.
I like the fakes here from JNaps. He's not challenging the ball. He knows SSG is cutting across it. He's playing kind of off touches, and now they're really losing members. He can't really do that as Chicago thought that one might have been corner, top corner even from JNaps. Com dishing across, and SSG, despite being put backs against the wall, they're just throwing haymakers, just trying to make some contact on these saves, bump players out, and not only will they survive, they might even get a victory. Hoxer secures it off the pass, and that is a brutal one.
And this is something you've spoken about many times, Taco. It's the, all right, you know what, screw this. I'm done not being able to get a goal. Let me dive. Oh, and it's immediately over my head. The third man is such a delicate role to play, where if you want to play it, you have to figure out those moments where you have to retreat because there's an immediate counterattack, and those moments where it is viable to dive in and try to keep the play alive. I can't blame them. SSG saved what feels like 4,000 shots in a row, and eventually somebody's going to go, I need to make this happen. I need to get this goal. And in those singular moments of vulnerability, you can see the results.
8 shots from Noli in that game, and he's not able to secure one. He was getting the assist, obviously, to JNaps, but just so is SSG. I mean, the defense is solid overall. They're making all those saves. They were basically living in their half that final minute. And yet, all it took is Chicago realizing, hey, I could probably side flip that one, get a decent amount of height on it. And what do you know, his teammates, they saw it coming. They immediately hop on it, and our poor third man got jumped over for the goal. So apparently it is not enough to get 12 shots up against Space Station. You need a little bit more. And with 6 saves from JNaps as well, it's not like it is necessarily all one-way traffic. A classic, as always, from SSG and OG.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to me, though, that SSG, not only are they able to, like we said, save off 12 total shots here, but they get some decent shots of their own. 10 total shots to the team and 6 saves. It's not as if this was a lopsided scoreline despite the double-digit shots on both sides. So I'm curious to see what we see here in Game 2. I do kind of feel like we're still seeing an SSG that aren't quite at their full form. I feel like they are leaving a decent amount of opportunities at the table, but honestly, that's to our benefit. If OG can start to recognize those little bit of moments of opening, I think the transitions become a little bit quicker and we become a little bit more effective when we do take shots.
Well, we'll have to keep up that shot total because certainly it's going to be no small feat to get anything past this SSG squad. And even off kickoff, we can't get that lucky. Hoxer kind of waited a little bit too long on that read, but still able to get that one off. Not able to get this one, though. JNaps from the sidewall.
I will say, kickoff's definitely still in OG's favor. It was something we used effectively in the G2 series, but we'll also use Hoxer. None of those touches were necessary, brother. Like, they look nice, but I don't think you needed any of those, my guy.
And being able to dive on through. Even pros are susceptible to that. It's occasionally a read on the sidewall. You're thinking, I could probably get to that. And then right as you jump, you realize, oh, wait, he definitely has a better angle than me. And it goes right past you into the net. So a tough one. More or less, it feels like a kickoff goal, but SSG certainly never one to hang their heads. They're right into action, and I thought it would continue, but LJ not believing in that one.
The flick up high. I don't think Noli's going to be able to get much of a follow-up here. So Calm trying to slot in. Let's go for the bump on Chicago, but all it's done is, once again, leave JNaps as the midfield presence to try and slow him down. I like the backup from Noli, but it's not enough to necessarily carry it out. We can do it here instead. On the ground, looking for a 15th through, but can't quite get it, and Hoxer instead will get 2 good touches in a row to, I thought, carry it out of the half, the ricochet out, into the hands of Chicago, who tries to get it to midfield. It's good patient play at OG. Something we talked about is that they were really used to the pace of play against G2. Now they're kind of waiting for the ball to come to them. For better or for worse, though, I don't necessarily think they should slow down when you've got players on the other end starting to get some offense together. But again, this midfield, this in-between where they're finding times to dive and finding times to wait is what's giving them a lot more possession on the ball.
Ooh, that's a tough one. JNF's looking for that 50, and SG saw right through that, saying, okay, let's avoid that by all means. LJ needs to try to avoid this one from Calm. He didn't want to bait into the 50, but he doesn't get anything. And with Hoxer dead, it needs Chicago for the clear. He does get it way over the top, and Noli, last-second deflection means here comes the OG counter, passed down from Calm. I like the idea, just too far away.
They're trying to get JNaps a lot more involved in the offense. As we mentioned for the last couple of games, it's really been him being the majority of our defense, the last defender back, the third man at so many moments. And now they're trying to kind of have everybody play back. We've seen multiple times where Noli is backing up JNaps, and instead of them having just one player back, we'll have a couple and a couple of different options. It also leads to double commits like that, though, and that's why SSG some offense to work with. LJ pops it up high. Noli is there, and like we said, backing up his teammates. And he needed to back them up a little bit better, though. That's an awkward touch, and the offense continues.
Good save by Calm, but it's not John yet. Another shot right into Noli. LJ just going to throw that well over. Hoxer trying to find Chicago. Is this the moment for SSG? Bar and out. OG getting away with it yet again. Calm still going to need some support as he circumvents one, and maybe he gets a second, but sometimes take too long, and you're going to send to the scrap heap.
See if we can get some midfield presence here for OG. Apparently not. Instead, it'll go right back into our own corner where Noli's looking for a 2-tap. Can't find it, but he can't find a bump on Chicago, which makes this approach a little bit more difficult. He's got no reset, so instead it's Hoxer to now try and keep this going. But I will say, despite the 1 goal from OG being the only thing on the board so far, and that's about 2.5 minutes, have been all SSG with offense. We got to escape. It only feels like a matter of time before they effectively get this done. That's what we needed, though. A good challenge out and Calm to extend it means we finally have escaped the gulag.
Well, that was a little spooky there from SSG. JNF's on the near post, nearly poked that one through, but back pass retains possession for OG, but really limits the danger in the offense. They're trying to find Noli if he can be able to slow this one down as some demos in the midfield ringing out. He's trying to make sure that one does not go middle, but even if it does, JNF's is another one, if only for Chicago to chase down.
Uh-oh, it's looking a little bit awkward. I thought that might have been an egregious challenge out of Calm, but apparently it's going to work out, and I guess it's due to JNaps just kind of headhunting downfield.
Whoa.
Oh, and Noli getting the perfect challenge. SSG just not expecting it, and honestly, neither was I.
Yeah, poor Hoxer's trying to go off, but he hits that so lightly that LJ, you can see him spin back saying, oh, I realize you don't have this one, but Noli certainly did. He sniffed that out immediately, hops on top, and I will gladly take a 2-0.
Yeah, this is definitely not what I was expecting out of the defense for SSG right now. It just kind of feels like they're having a lot of these awkward plays where they're really focusing so hard on trying to get a transition downfield that they make a poor touch, and it really doesn't turn into anything further than that. 80 seconds to go, though, and I'm not going to say they're out of this one quite yet, especially with lead blocker LJ. Hawkster just booms it straight to Nolly, and never mind. I'll take my words back yet again as another opportunity squandered for SSG.
Wow, 2v1, we still win that 50 as Com will be able to gather on the far side. Really just trying to impose our will here is OG, along with Com. Maybe trying to bait an LJ, but that flick not going to work out. A little bit of a back pass. LJ will try and ricochet this one forward, but OG doing a great job of beating out a lot of these reads. And even if it does go over the top, we bump the player, and everyone else is not able to follow suit quick enough.
LJ can't really do anything with this ball. It's just kind of flopping at it, hoping one of his two teammates would eventually intervene. Instead, it's at Chicago, who also is on 0 boost, who has to retreat all the way back. LJ can do something here. Never mind, misses the ball, but it could work out as a fake. LG and Hawkster trying to get something together. Still not going to work out. Feels like so many built-up offenses for SSG, but when it comes time for the shot, it's either impeded by a defender at OG or it's just off target or not effective. They got to do something if they want to turn this one around, but I'm hoping they don't do it in this game. 18 seconds to go, and Dolly hit the nail in the coffin. Please end this one now.
Unfortunately, not able to get that one. SSG will be able to survive, but can they perform some last-second heroics? Com, nice 50 down. And that is going to do it. Space Station, you might have gotten game 1, but game 2 here on Salty Shores is all OG.
It's all OG, and it's a shutout fashion at that. Again, a lot of good offenses being generated by Space Station, but no results for pretty much any of them here. We don't see the amount of shots that Chicago took there, but it kind of goes to show you, LJ, the offensive MVP of one of our majors last year, 0 shots in this game.
Yeah, and he's really struggling to get into things, but it's mostly just Space Station being able to have a lot of indirect attacks on target, but not really anything that is super right down the gullet, being able to set it up. At times, earlier on in the game, they did have those kind of constant rotations through where they're trying to throw the ball in dangerous situations. And even then, OG, I was going to say, their gap closure is great. It was like a cornerback closing down on the wide receiver. Every single time the ball was approaching, they had someone up for it. If there was an air dribble, they had someone above it. And if they knocked it over an OG defender, that player got hit. It was kind of like a disconnected solo play. So I do like to see that from OG. Whether or not Space Station will allow us to do that again is really up to them and how they use the rest of this minute.
It's why I do think that as much as we're talking about, adjusting from the G2 playstyle, that is one of the most beneficial warm-ups you can get. Playing the fastest team on the planet means you're adjusted to be able to play fast. Now, what it also means is that you're probably going to try to play fast on most plays, which is why I think we struggled in game 1, because we were just going Mach 7 speeds at all times. Finding that in between, having times when you can go that fast and having other times when you can break down the pace of play is why I think they had such an effective game 2. When they needed to, they dusted SSG to the ball. And other times, they let SSG come to them. Case in point on the amount of offenses that SSG generated. So let's see if they can do this again here in game 3. Would love to see OG get another shutout, but not quite happening yet.
Chicago trying to find LJ. Nice dunk down. And not only that, the 50 into the flick. I mean, Hawkster can only do so much. Chicago with the ugliest decal, I still maintain, on the card change. He was feeling a change. I don't know if that's the placebo you're looking for.
If they get scored on right now, they deserve it. Specifically just for that decal. Look, man, this is not. It's not even EU. This is Vitality is EU. We're NA. Come on now, just rep your org. Rep somebody else, or let Tom maybe just flip reset on you, or let it get a pass out to Noel. You still trying to get it. Whole lot of ors happening. Whole lot of results not happening because of it. First minute scoreless for both teams.
He's using the blue wheels. Sorry, I can't stop fixating on this. Maybe I should focus more on the game and focus on JNaps. Into Com, laser on the redirect, right on the near post. That is how you do a counter.
This is what we like to call in the industry a skimmy wimmy. My goodness, what on earth is that? The lightest touch to just laser it in. That's everything we're hoping for out of this OG team. And again, it's everything we're hoping for on the transition. We mentioned it. Midfield presence was supposed to be a thing, but if SSG don't want to play that, we're going right back to the same attitude we had with G2.
In Chicago. Ugliest man on the pitch. I'm kidding. No, I just really hate that decal, but I will let it go. No, we all know that Reed is gorgeous. We all know that one. It's just the decal. I can't abide by it. So, therefore, they deserve all that happens to them. Kind of like this demo. Kind of like JNaps getting the air dribble so graceful to the back post.
All I'm saying is that before Chicago turned into this, we had a back-and-forth series in which really nobody was able to score early on. Now it's not even been 90 seconds, and already we've got 2 goals for OG. So, look, Reed, if you want to keep that car, I'm vibing with it, bro.
It's especially criminal considering that he plays for SSG, one of the best merch and decal teams in terms of consistency. So he's just like, nah, I don't even want that. I'll use some other team's decal. I don't know. It just feels a little fraudulent.
Oh, this I was about to say is going to be real fraudulent if they let him do this. Oh my gosh, they actually are. Yo, does somebody want to make a challenge here? SSG, I get it. You've been scored on twice. It's every reason in the world to turtle up here, but don't start doing that. If you really want to give this game to us, absolutely do not challenge us on any plays. But if you want to stay in this one, you got to get more aggressive. Kind of feels like there's a shell shock at SSG, and they don't really know how to adjust to it.
I will say Hoxer did steal away LJ's goal in game 1 for the winner, but outside of that, LJ has not scored, and he was actually a member of, I believe, a Liquipedia post in which when they ran the stats for goal consistency, LJ was one of, I think, if not the best player in NA in terms of the percentage of games in which he will score a goal, and to see him not be on the scoreboard is such a Twilight Zone thing, especially, I'm sure, for Chief Beef and all the people on the SSG fams stream.
This is why I state, yet again, if we're going to take a win against SSG, today is the day to do so. It's not like, this is not me just I think hyperbolizing is the right word here. I don't know. This is not me theorizing that they are playing bad today. This is evidence. They did not play well in their first series and took a loss. They played against a team that they were expected to clap through and did not do that. They're playing off today. LJ clearly doesn't have the same offensive firepower he is used to, and I hate to call out another player as well, but Hoxer has made way too many mistakes on defense for my liking. This team needs to try to find some better cohesion and really consistency beyond compare. To be honest, though, I don't really care if they do. I'm fine for them to keep on messing around and we take a win.
Yeah, a little bit of an earlier day for us here on the OG stream, and that means it is also just more time that you guys don't have to be distracted by a silly game, and you guys can go to shop.ogs.gg to pick up some OG merch, like the stuff I'm wearing, like obviously what Seb and I rock to all of our OG casts typically for across the LCS season, and something that you guys can also join in on. So definitely consider hopping on by there, and also make sure that you wait until this game is done, because it is far from being done if SSG keeps up this offense, finally getting a bump into a goal.
Look, I'm happy that this turns into a goal. This is a well-earned goal at that, but the thing that pains me is that right there. LJ had at least a chance to score and shoots it way too high. I don't think it was intentional. I'm glad he made up for his mistake, though, by immediately bumping Noli in goal. And the only reason I'm really willing to even give these compliments is that's only one part of the puzzle here. They still have another 90 seconds to score another, and potentially another, because JNaps is not satisfied with 2.
Jams tried to bring that one up and over. Thing is, LJ just had to passively wait and have with no boost to be able to do anything with, so we'll try to contribute some bumps, and that is not going to work. So he is lurking downfield. He's got no boost, but he doesn't really need it. He just needs the presence alone. Deflection middle. Could be a pass to Chicago, and he will slot that one. So this is why you do not take your foot off the gas.
And this honestly kind of goes to show that LJ is starting to figure out his role. He's like, all right, if I do not have the hot hand on shooting today, if I'm not able to get the assist, I can at least play interruption here. He swings through net, and that's the reason why there aren't really any players back that are prepared for the shot. And honestly, I kind of hate that I finally pointed out how bad SSG is playing today, because they're finally playing good.
And so we'll see whether or not that actually continues, or if it's just kind of a flash in the pan. Tyler getting kicked around, but maybe. Use up too much energy. JNaps at the ceiling. They respected it. Calm, you got to respect him too with the flip reset. And job is still not done for SSG up until JNaps, I think, got slapped into the ceiling, so he just could not recover in time.
This is awkward for Noli, though. He's getting chased down by Hoxer, also trying to make it a touch there to try and prevent the quick counterattack. And I mean, he definitely prevents the counterattack. He doesn't prevent the attack altogether, though. My goodness, Hoxer definitely really taking up the mantle for LJ. If he's not getting the shots today, Hoxer will. LJ will get the passes out, and Chicago will not connect. Hate to say it, but SSG, that was probably your chance to end this game, and instead, you fire off another shot, which is, again, well prepared for by Khan.
A little bit spooky, especially Calm, nothing in the tank, so he needed the intervention change. In fact, no boost at all for all of OG. Top corner from LJ. Any other day, that's going in the net, but instead, there we go with a clear all the way back down. That's actually going to go right to Calm. You might be able to send this one more time in the middle, but Noli not able to control overtime after a game that seemed for sure going OG's way.
Yeah, I'm going to make my apologies ahead of time because I see that Tordad's calling me out in chat. I'm just going to, for those that do not know, I don't intend to bring this energy. It just comes with me. This is the energy I bring whether you like it or not. The caster curse is something I am infamous for at this point, and you know what? I'll use it to our advantage. I feel like SSG are finally starting to get some offense, which means we're going to score. You see what happens when I use it to a good power?
It's a curse. It's also a gift, and Calm is going to deliver that present right into the goal mouth of SSG. What an angle on the solo play. And you can wipe that sweat off your forehead because OG not only getting the dub, but moving on to match point.
I really don't understand how I do this. The moment that I'm like, yeah, SSG is going to score here, and we immediately score against them. I just got to figure out how to cast backwards, like literally quite, speak my sentences in reverse, and I think it honestly might become the best caster on the planet.
I feel like that's the issue, though, is like when you're trying to avoid a caster curse, it's almost worse as a commentator, because I feel like you're just baiting in the inevitable. You're like, well, certainly. That's why Seb and I used to get so much flack where we'd be getting into a lead, and we're like, surely this game is over, right? Like, oh, absolutely, there's nothing that can be done, and then they get a score, then the whole chat just goes, shut up, both of you, shut up, and just see like message after message after message just yelling at us, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I feel that. Sometimes it's better just to be silent and just kind of let the play breathe, maybe.
So good to know. It's not just me when I'm on the C9 broadcast. It's for you guys as well. All right, cool. So apparently fans just want us to stop talking. Casting is not a necessity.
You do have the best caster curse clip of all time with you and
yes, I do.
On the Cloud9 stream? Or
Back then it was Omelet versus
Omelet,
LG.
Yes. So
and,
former Cloud9,
yeah.
yes. But yeah, by far the funniest caster clip. You should definitely look that up, or maybe we can find it and link it in the chat. Either way, the only thing we're linking you guys is directly into this next game. We're on Estadio Vita. This is game number 4 of the third match of the day, the final one to determine who's moving on to 2-1 in Shift Summer League play.
I'd love to see it end right here and now. SSG, if you are having an off day, let's take full advantage. I have no shame in saying that at this point, and honestly, it's because it's not as if I am just, exaggerating what is happening right now. As far as I'm aware, LJ still does not have a goal, and we are 4 games into this series.
So he will try and throw it downfield, but that is more than a clear. It's just really kind of a giveaway as Noli was looking for the pass middle. I don't think he wanted to dive in on that one, and yet he will still get it. Not much boost. LJ's going to have to catch this one as JNap's breathing down his neck and almost gets that one dunked.
I love that challenge out of JNap's there. Every day of the week, brother. Keep that up. Okay, I don't love this, though. Oh, I really don't love... Wow, that's got to be so painful. LJ clears the way, goes, finally, I'll get my first goal, and Chicago says, nope, this is still mine.
LJ had so much boost, too. It's like a harder shot from Chicago, if anything. But, I guess SSG, I mean, for no fault of their own, they're just wanting goals. They're just, like, trying to throw it on in. Honestly, I don't really think LJ cares, but just funny to see that recent statistic. It is not funny watching my beloved OG fall behind, but that's okay, because still a lot of time, still a lot of moments for Calm to shine. That's a 50 in the middle, but brilliantly taken by LJ.
I don't know if I want to blame myself for that one. I feel like I both caster cursed that and didn't, because I was like, oh, LJ doesn't have a goal, but then LJ didn't really score.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm kind of conflicted right now on whether or not to be blamed for that one. I'll blame this one on me if we can't score here, though. Good offense being generated. Pass out center. Where is Calm? He is there. And, oh boy, this is a couple really awkward challenges in a row for what should have been an extended offense, too. Let's just escape this one, lads.
Another deflection. That's a solid 50. Hawks are going to have to hold that one up, hence the high lob. So Calm says here, JNaps take this one over and then carry this across court. Chicago is up early. He teamed with that guy for what seemed like a decade. He knows not to give JNaps that opportunity.
I think he's starting to read exclusively JNaps here, because I feel like the last 5 challenges we've seen against him have been Chicago. It'll probably happen again. Yeah, he knows exactly how he's going to do this. I gotta say, that's quite the advantage SSG have in this series. Maybe that's why they've kept this one closer than most of their series today.
Not a way. I mean, it does feel like we talk about, Atomic and how he's had to adjust. JNaps has had to adjust. Chicago, I'm sure, has had to adjust for plenty of SSG. I think the reason why you start to see these older players, JNaps is one of the oldest in NA, Chicago is one of the oldest players in NA, and being at the top so quickly, you have to kind of slowly improve your game and change things up. I think it's very hard for a player. I would say Turbo's are the only one who's been able to pretty much have the exact same play style for years and years and years and still be able to be relevant.
I mean, honestly, some players are just built like that. They just can keep on playing at the same level for forever, and they never seem to slow down. I feel like it's been almost even harder in this current generation with so many young talent coming through. Being able to be an old head like JNaps and still be able to get wins is unbelievably impressive. They don't quite have the win right now, though. It does seem like SSG are forcing a game 5 if this scoreline stands. That's the worst touch I've ever seen LJ make, though, and we might have some offense and potentially a goal. Drop down, not going to get punished this time.
I can feel that from Noel. He's trying to cook that one and try to place it a bit more precisely, but I think he overthinks it. Not able to get any power is much worse than being able to place that one in an inopportune way, but that's fine, because JNaps, he's back at it, trying to test it out, but I think he actually got tagged by LJ halfway through that one, which leads to the easy Chicago clear. Calm trying to be creative with it. That 50 got a little dicey. Noli, don't overdrive on it, as we're backed into our own defensive third after a bit of some awkwardness for JNaps to now deal with.
I said coming into the series, we'd see a midfield presence. I didn't expect it to be basically non-existent, and then in the moments that we do see it, it's like the worst thing I've ever witnessed. Let's get back to a little bit more normalcy. I'm much more preferring the end-to-end play versus these awkward sort of bumper car moments we keep seeming to have out at midfield. It hasn't come to punish us quite yet, but it definitely has made our defense a lot more awkward than it needs to be at many moments. We can have our offense be a little bit more efficient. Noli tries to pop this one up high. Calm getting the bumps in the corner. Should have some open space. I don't know how Chicago got there, but this man, he's just so literate right now.
He's reading everything, and it is not a fun experience to be sure, especially take a look at that top left of the screen. OG does have a decent amount of boost, but it's all just immediately vacating the tanks to be able to stop these plays. LJ feeling himself, almost like the heli setup off the ceiling shot. Now Hoxer trying to follow it through with something more basic. LJ off the midfield line with quite a lot of boost. Never a sight I enjoy seeing, Bass.
Yeah, but he kind of dumped it immediately there. Not sure if he was just a bit uncomfortable after the immediate challenge, but no offense really generated from that. Instead, it's Hoxer to try and do it himself. The pass out center. He will technically get it, and LJ once again does it to the ball. That one's open. Noli just needs the lead block. He can't find it. Calm on the rebound. No boost in the tank. J-Naps to secure it.
Man, this is something you love to see, but also just a cerebral play from OG as always. Calm up for it. He has no boost, but he doesn't need any. It's specifically because he sees LJ freeze in his tracks, say, wait, what are you doing? I can't stop that. And J-Naps, as always, the consummate finisher, getting the goal, getting the equalizer, and potentially putting us back in contention to get the eventual series winner. Not like this, though. J-Naps, brilliant read.
He might even have another touch here. No, not quite. No boost in the tank, but this is definitely not going to do anything either. LJ looking for the pass out center. Instead, actually has to muscle through a 50 to try and give this team some offense. We'll get it, but for how long? Calm up for this one. Pops it out center where Hoxer is waiting. Oh. Is J-Naps going to keep this up? Indeed he will. Spike off the ceiling. Noli's already up! Oh, I wanted that in so badly, but this, I think, will get spiked to the ground. That pre-jump almost saved us.
OG loves some pre-jumps. That's actually wild if that even get connected. And SSG, they knew. They were saying, hey, there's someone middle. You got to get up for this one. But they have survived into overtime, but for how much longer? Calm, deflection heavy from SSG, taking it back to the corner. That flick's going to be read by Noli, but fortunately LJ able to read that one. Now can we read Hoxer? Flip reset, well over the bar. LJ on the follow through, dunk through. Chicago does have it, and how else can this one end than go in the distance?
Look, 20-second overtime for 20-second overtime here. It's just an eye for an eye, and, well, I guess it technically leaves the whole world blind, or just leaves us with Game 5s exclusively. Finally, we get one, though. We had, 3-1, 3-1. Now, all of a sudden, or actually get Game 5 last time. We just didn't win it. This time, though, I feel like it's a little bit more even momentum, though. I do think SSG are still starting to find some offense, but at the same time, I mean, 13 shots, 2 goals. They still haven't quite figured out their offensive troubles yet.
Yeah, they're looking a lot better on offense, but it is taking a lot of shots to do so. But the thing is, if you're winning a game, then not the worst thing in the world, because at least that you're getting shots into OW, getting a bit more coherent from us. There's just these slight moments where it feels like OG, we're letting down our guard a little bit and then getting bumped out of the way or diving in on something that doesn't quite go the manner in which we planned. So the offense still looking good. The misdirection is locked in. So even with the few amount of shots, I still think there's lethal potential there, but at least going into game number 5. Ideally, coming out with a victory here would be huge. Again, we play each team here twice, but getting a dub to be able to keep that head-to-head topped off, especially with a team that will most likely finish around the same level of the table as us, would be huge.
Yeah, it'd be massive, and I think that's also part of why, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Noli's restarting his game. He's taking no risks going into this game 5, and I do not blame him. Like we said, it's just about recognizing that the pressure isn't on right now. The pressure will be on throughout the rest of the season. There are 3 weeks total of this one. We got today, tomorrow, and then the same thing next week and the week after. And if you can make it into the playoffs at that point, you can get a decent amount of prize pool out of that $20,000 that are on the line. So I'm hoping they recognize what's at stake here. A win against SSG early in the season would go a very far way throughout the rest of the season as well, with so many of these games being so close and the amount of upsets we've seen so far. This is almost feeling like a necessary win against SSG.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Noli to get back in the game. So we are loaded up into Champions Field. Again, this is on broadcast as well on the Shift channel. So we got everybody in here, including we have the producer, we have both casters, we have an additional referee. Shout out to the RLCS lobbies that we're basically getting in here with the specialized extra people that we can get into the lobby. So we're not just capped at a mere 10. And that means All the casters are in here, all the players are in here, and in fact, we are very much locked in for game number 5. SSG and OG, 5 more minutes to determine who goes on to 2-1 in the league play.
I need a real deep breath right now because, my goodness, if the stakes of this, like we've stated so many times, are not higher, and my nerves as tense as physically possible. LJ trying to get something started for his team, but it's actually Calm and Nolly who might have the little bit of trickery. Last second save from Hawkster, but I already like what I'm seeing here out of OG.
You just got to make sure you do not let up, and obviously make sure every touch is clean. Nolly had to wait for that boost, which is fine, but does a little curtail the counterattack. Now he's actually able to use it, trying to go in the ceiling. LJ gets all the way in top of that one for Chicago to be able to just daintily pass that one over to his former teammate.
Jnaps has some boost to work with, but quickly descends from the ceiling, meaning LJ and Hawkster can cause some interruptions. Leads its way into the hands of Noli, who does get a great 50 and now can lead into offense. Jnaps, another good 50 in a row. LJ not quite able to get all of that one, and his teammate getting bumped off means a double commit at SSG, plus the demo scrambling is the space station defense. Might pay off for them. My goodness, what a necessary joink out of them, but they're not out of the woodwork yet. More boost and more offense generated from OG.
LJ really going to snake around this one. He just goes for his boost. He's like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not going to risk the 50, but he's going to go back at it because eventually he just has to. Noli forced him into it, and now with the back pass to Jnaps, we could try to kick up, but we're not really getting that straight line plays that we're used to. We're trying to make sure we can get forward, but SSG trying to cut out most of these angles to force us into the most uncomfy of situations. Kind of like this one. Read into the ceiling. Jnaps quick to read.
I do not like how patient we're playing right now. I feel like it's a very much safe, rather safe than sorry attitude at the moment, and I understand why. When your team is shooting 2 for 13 against you, you'd like to believe that your defense can withstand anything that they throw against you. But I don't necessarily want them to keep extending these plays, giving them more chances, because we don't even have a goal yet. It's been 2 minutes, and...
Oh. That's a heavy one, as Calm will just lob one high, be able to take it on, as it looks like we are able to somewhat deflect this one high, as I believe we have a temporary lost Bass. Discord died just a second, so hopefully he is back on my side at least. I think his internet should be fine despite living in the West and dealing with West ISPs, but looks like OG will also be able to survive, as is my Discord. Bass, are you back with us?
I am, and I'm going to blame your Discord on that one,
Yeah,
because
no, it was.
you crashed, went full silent, the stream went down, and I meanwhile just started staring at your stream on Twitch. So
I didn't drop any frames. It was literally just Discord doesn't sometimes want to actually behave. So, you know, that's
we love Discord. It's the perfect program, and, well, for the moment being, I'm going to have to sort of radio cast this one. I think I'm a couple of seconds behind the play, but I can tell OG trying to get something started, and let's see if they can get the first goal.
Would be nice if you're able to see, so I will grant you vision and be able to actually let you be able to participate in the cast, because that is always nice to have a partner in this. I would love to have a partner on the goal line. And Chicago going to get met by Jnaps with a 50. He's still got plenty of boost. Chicago has none, but Chicago knows he just has to wait for the next iteration. Noli able to tap that one over, and Calm should carry it from there.
I hate to mention his name yet again, but did you notice the player that was diving on the line that needed the follow-up touch there? Yeah, that's exactly who you think it is. And it's the same player that's on the ball now who puts it wide! He doesn't even put it on target! I genuinely flabbergasted by what I'm witnessing right now.
Yeah, it's weird to see LJ play this off from a squad, and it's not necessarily harming SSG in a way that they're not getting any dubs, but it's definitely a weird thing to be able to spectate, especially weird when Chicago can't read that one. Nobody does off the bar. And I don't really mind that from Noli. Everybody's going high for the read. Put it low, makes the clear weirder, and now Jnaps has a chance. Fortunately bumped out, but Calm doesn't want that one either.
That is the weirdest tiki-taka defense there out of all of SSG, and it technically pays off, and it even gives them a chance on offense now. Boost steals in both corners means that they got to be careful here. As OG know, all that they have in the tank right now is pretty much all they're going to be able to play with on this defensive stand. I don't think they're going to need much more, though, because Jnaps gets a free clear out to midfield. Yeah, he does have Calm as the lead blocker, but where are the other defenders? Where's any defense at all? Chicago's got to make a last-second save. Noli another one. Calm trying to look for the bump, but accidentally bumps the defender into the defense and into the save.
Yeah, Calm, even when he's a little bit quiet on those demos, he always creeps up in the most inconvenient times. SSG feeling like they're all safe, and then suddenly the ball just kind of goes right across your goal. LJ finally gets his read at the worst possible time.
25 seconds left in the series. That is how much longer we had to keep him out. Now, granted, I want to give LJ credit for this goal. That's all Chicago, though. That is quite literally him recognizing the final defender there. That needs to go up almost immediately because there's no way they get to the double touch. And by him just keeping them flat-tired on the line, there was not a single chance. We still have a chance in this game, though. This one is not done, not by a long shot. 20 seconds to go in an offense for OG. They can work with this.
That's a really rough giveaway, but unfortunately that first clear is not going to happen. The second one is going to have to be a deflection down. LJ sees it. Chicago going to leave this one for LJ. Shot on target, deflection middle,
Whoa.
and Hoxer able to take this one all the way back. I think that's actually going to stay up, though, unfortunately for SSG, but that deflection will unfortunately spell the end. That's a heartbreaker, folks. Space Station taking us down in 5.
Game 5, and honestly, in a play that I feel like had to be perfectly coordinated, or there was no way. I cannot emphasize enough, Chicago my MVP for this series without a second doubt. Dude was everywhere. Whether on ball or off ball, he was the difference maker for both the offense, the defense, and everywhere in between. It's a painful way to lose there, but I will say it kind of goes to show that this is why Shift League is going to be so interesting. Space Station have probably the roughest day in a hot moment, and they turn it around by taking down a top 4 team.
Yeah, and being able to be also a fellow top 4 team shows the resilience you got to have. It doesn't really matter how you start, it's really how you finish. And this is league play after all. So just to clarify for everybody, this is Shift Summer League. So that was because our broadcast day unfortunately is over here. That was the first 3 best of 5s of, I believe, 18 in total that you will have over the next 3 weeks. So going to be a lot more OG action. But at least for today, that's going to be it. And losing 2 games is rough, but you're losing it to 2 of the teams that went to a major and now also the World Championship a little bit later.
Look, I'm okay taking losses to them. I'm just glad that we didn't take a loss against Incorrect to start our day because that would have really put us in a rough position going into tomorrow. So I'm cool with what we have today. It's not exactly perfect results, but it definitely does put us on the path forward to where there's still a world to make playoffs. There's still a world to turn this around. And heck, I mean, we took both series to Game 5. It goes to show you that if any other team wants to try and get past us, they need to be of the caliber of SSG, of G2 in order to win.
I'm just typing goodbye to the boys in the party, then leaving them to their own device. But yeah, unfortunately, that's a tough one. So we're going to have to take a look across the different results here as we'll take one last look at the Shift Summer League for today, as most of the results should be loading in, as typically OG is just taking our time. You know, it's these old men on this roster. They got to slowly walk down the series and see how it all works out. And it turns out Gen.G is not going to be 0-3. It is going to have a win there over the old LG roster, 1-3. Shopify Rebellion go into 5 against Incorrect. So Incorrect, they're catching up, it feels like.
I mean, Incorrect is definitely a team where even this was honestly the exact same way they played in RLCS quals as well. They will constantly get to at least Game 5 and at least put in a fight and then still not be able to take the dub afterwards. Again, they are 5-9 right now overall, an 0-3 scoreline despite the fact that they went to Game 5 against everybody but us. So it's just... Man, you got to feel for Incorrect. You got to feel for all the teams that are participating here because it is only going to have a select few teams that can even advance to playoffs here, just above half, 6 of the teams. And of those teams, 2 of them are still going to go to the lower bracket. So it's rough, man. There's not much we can really say besides every one of these series matters. Is why we talk about, as much as it is, Gen.G, they took 2 losses. That's so weird. That's going to really come back to bite them. Those 2 losses to start off their entire Summer League event is going to mean they have to play catch-up pretty much for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, but as you can see, a lot of rounds going on here in total, round 18, so 18 total games. So this is just 1/6 of everything. But yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, in a league play that's going to be pretty competitive as we take a look at the table real quick. There's a lot of space to get in. Top 6 makes playoff, but if you are not top 4, you are actually going to be starting in a really awkward kind of a lower bracket position. Playoff a little bit later as kind of those segmented brackets. Top 4 starts in uppers, and then everyone else starts in a lower quarterfinal. So as long as you can be a little bit up there, that's fine. But yeah, when it's one of the situations, the separation between 4th and 5th, losses like this are normally the ones that come back and really make you shake your head like, what were we doing? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, look, we got questions for today. Unfortunately, I don't think we have enough time to get any more answers. This is, it's been a fun one, though. 3 full series. Every single one of these series has been pretty impressive all around. And honestly, are we waiting on any more results, or are we kind of locked in for day 1?
Dignitas just finished. They are their final game. They are now 2-1. They just took a 3-2 over Fun. So that is going to be yet another Game 5 as we start to look at all of these results that should be loading in. And so now, yes, we will see the full table. We are unfortunately just on the underside. We have the best goal differential of all the 1 and 2 or negative teams, but other than that, Shopfire Rebellion, Space Station, Rattles Magic Cheese, Dingtoss, and G2 Stride represent the rest of the top 6 so far in league play.
Honestly, that's not that far off from what we really expected here out of the teams that are participating in this one. I think the only one that really is surprising is going to be Gen G taking the 9th place and Dig Toss in the 2nd. But again, new Dig, something special. We really do got to pay attention to this team. Zanil has seemingly revitalized that squad. So I'm not going to count them, officially into top 6 yet, but definitely a team to watch out for going forward.
Yes, but other than that, that is going to do it here on the OG broadcast, everybody. Bass, thank you so much for tuning in, and of course, everybody in chat for cheering on the team. Hopefully tomorrow, because the broadcast will be live again tomorrow, we will be able to see some better results. Until then, obviously, check out the !OG shop in the chat. That is going to be shop.ogs.gg for all your OG merchandise, and also be able to support the team, be able to get all the merch before the World Championship happening on, or at the very least, be able to wear it while you're watching the broadcast, because we'll be here all summer series. No, I did it. No, I screwed it up. I remind you guys, both Bass and I are on Summer Series, a different broadcast. All Shift Summer League long for the next 3 weeks. So, yes, we'll be seeing you. But Bass, again, thank you so much for being able to come into the booth today.
Pleasure. Honestly, happy to come back any other time, and happy to always watch OG. Give us some competitive series. I really do hope that this team is able to kind of, find their stuff together. I feel like a lot of people have mentioned, we want to see a good set of them at the World Championship. That's by far, the best version. So let's see what it turns into. Either way, go and follow me on Twitter. That's literally the only plug that I have at this point. Get my numbers up. Numbers equal good.
Better numbers would be ideal, yes. So follow Bass. Obviously, follow at OG Esports RL on Twitter as well to follow all the information about when broadcasts are, what are the next league play matches coming up, as well as when this broadcast is going live, and of course, all the fun content, because the OG Socials team got to work with them in London. Some of the best in the industry, super good stuff out there. Check out the YouTube channel for comms videos, also behind the scenes, kind of day-to-day vlogs from the London Major as well. So something you don't want to miss out on. But until next time, which would be almost exactly in 22 hours from now, 7 p.m. EST on Wednesday, it will be the start of some more league play here for the Shift Summer League. But until next time, peace out. We're going to throw you on a raid over to our good friend Cam and enjoy him in he's playing, I believe, a 1v1 tournament. So wish him some luck and wish OG some luck tomorrow.